Hey, yo. Come on in here, pretty girl.
Come on in.
What's
Come
up?
on in.
What's up, Boston? Beantown.
Let's go, pretty lady.
Oh, I'm literally in love with this now.
Oh, man, you just made this so much better.
So much better. Not even funny.
Oh, man,
The
how
star-
perfect.
The star rolls in right on time.
Right. How perfect is this on women? What is the women's
International Women's Day.
Women's
You gotta know
Day.
this.
I know.
Just
I need to
kidding.
know. International Women's Day. I didn't
You
know if it
need
was
to know
national
this.
or international, but just
Neighbor, you're in my seat.
oh
switch?
shit! Oh
I was
shit!
like, listen, I'll switch.
No, I'm in a podcast and that's fine.
I was like, I will move quickly.
It is okay.
Shout out to all the ladies in business, killing it in their industries. The men better beware. These women are crushing it. They're crushing it, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
I
they're doing
agree.
a better job.
Yeah, that's not new.
Right.
At least in my life, that's
Right.
not new.
100%. I don't know where I'd be without the women in mine.
100%.
Shout out Vicky.
Oh yeah, Vicky.
Right?
I don't know
Oh,
what I would
he
do
was just
without.
talking about her earlier.
Yeah. Got to
I hope
give
she's
Vicky a
watching
shout
this.
out.
I
I
don't know
know we're
what
live
I-
on TikTok, so I'll make sure she gets tagged in the comments or something after
there
this.
we
I
go.
don't know if it'll stick around. I don't know how that works actually, but thank you all for joining us. If you haven't met my beautiful wife, this is her over here to my left,
Yes.
probably your left too, Heather. And let's go around and introduce ourselves. Mr. Faber,
What's up, Mr. Faber, sir?
who are you, sir?
Michael Faber.
Yeah.
I don't know what these interests.
It's been a long day.
I know. I was about to do like some Master Network and be like, "My name is Michael
My
Faber."
name is Michael Faber.
I was like, you know, my favorite referral is. So I was like, yeah, it is me, Michael Faber. I am here.
You are indeed.
I made it.
Indeed,
Congratulations.
beautiful lady.
you.
Heather Jones.
Let me turn her
I
up a
was
little
gonna
bit.
say,
So everybody
that
else
was-
can
Gotta
hear.
pull it a little.
Might
have heard that.
She needs these headphones.
No,
This is my first time putting these things on. I feel like I'm in a
No.
spacesuit.
I know it's very weird. No, I'm Heather Jones of the Bobby variety.
The Bobby variety. That is so great. The one and only, can't clone her.
This
All
is
right.
Brightside.
Mrs. Brightside, my
Ooh,
queen,
I
my
love
queen.
that.
I
Okay.
Or Miss
Dang.
Brightside.
No,
Or no, it's Mrs. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what camera we're on. I'm
No,
Margaret
Mrs.
McClure, event planner of UnleashU Now.
And so much more. Extraordinaire. The woman behind Unleash You Now. One of the
Lee Carter said, because we do everything better.
Ooh.
Facts.
Shout out Lee.
So
I mean,
piss
we
standing
are
up.
the superior species.
100%.
100%.
I know we got one on you.
What?
You better standing up.
Oh, God.
I mean, if you guys can
Depends.
have that.
Yeah.
You were
I was
nervous.
like-
You were nervous for me. You were like, oh
Yeah.
shit. Don't do it.
It's only going to get worse from here, guys. No, and I'm Bobby Jones, partner in Unleash You and the co-host to this lovely show that we don't have a name for yet,
Mhm.
but
I wrote Be
right now
Unleashed.
it's Unleashed Live, Be Unleashed. We
Yeah.
got something going. There's something to this.
We're blending.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Blending. Right, Heather? So, and what are we going to be talking about tonight, Mr. Faber?
The Imposter Syndrome,
Okay.
entrepreneurship, and the good and bad of growth, personal development, professional growth.
Mm.
Love it.
Wait, I thought we were talking about like worst and best restaurants.
That's part of growth.
Let's talk about
I
it.
used to think McDonald's was good.
Favorite flavor ice cream. Hold on.
So we're starting with imposter syndrome.
If you like.
Okay. What was the second option?
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship, and then
Mm.
the pros and cons of growth.
Yep.
Okay. That's good too.
There's a couple things to start. There's just a couple things that we could dice up, put in a salad, and eat up first.
I like it.
We go somewhere else. We go somewhere else.
I like it.
Cool.
What are you ladies feeling since it is International Women's Day?
Mm. On our long journey today, we just got back in town. I was talking with Michael earlier. I guess it could be, good and bad of growth is, when you're growing, losing those people that weren't growing with you and having to kind of let that happen, which is really fucking hard. And so it's kind of funny that we're talking about that today, because I was talking about that earlier about, not everyone's going to come with you in the journey. So yeah, that's what I had for that part. So the only idea I had.
She's like, that's it.
That,
Boom.
I'm like,
that is interesting. That's
right when you
huge.
said that, I was like, oh shit, yeah.
That's huge. That's so painful. How do you want to talk about that at all?
Pass. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I mean that's true. I think depending on where you start, because we all start somewhere different, we want to take everybody with us, right? Because if we're succeeding, everybody's succeeding. And I think that's a good way to look at things, but I think that can really set yourself up for failure because you're taking a lot of people with you. A lot of those people don't want to be taken. Mr. Favor himself, I got that from him. That's what he says.
I don't want to be taken.
No, I was just saying peak
I
and
know.
quoting
No, I'm messing
him.
with you. I'm messing with you.
So, damn it,
Sorry.
it's going somewhere good.
You always are
Yeah.
But I think you just need to,
trying to survive this episode.
yes, it has been a long day, and back to topic.
It's gonna be one of those things, one of those lives.
Yeah, but I think you're gonna have times where you just can't take everybody with you, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes they're family, sometimes they're friends,
Right?
And I'm a firm believer that just because they hold a title in your life does not mean they're meant to be in your life. And like I've had to learn that the hard way. And yeah, that's it.
Dropping
Okay.
Well, I mean,
fire.
you could even bring up what Brian at the retreat, he was like, you guys, like, y'all are so close. Like, I don't get it. And I'm like, sometimes family's not your family, man.
Our family's always your family. Sometimes not your blood.
Sometimes it's not your, I get exactly what you're saying.
Back to original statement you made earlier. Lee Carter said, "How about the bright side of being unleashed?" Maybe that- so you can-
I like
so you
that.
can market and
Co-brand, all that.
both things.
We'll
I
have
like
some
that.
sponsorships in the background.
Sponsor.
You're
Yeah.
wearing my shirt. See, I see what you did there. You're wearing my shirt.
No, Margaret actually brought this one out of her car. She saved
Ah.
me.
He had the bright side on. He's like, I don't have anything. I'm like, I think I have one in my car.
I didn't
sorry,
have time.
guys. I didn't get the memo.
It's
No,
That's
it's
okay.
I
all
like
good.
Boston better.
You are
Me too.
perfect, just the way
Oh,
you
I
are.
like it better.
You're perfect just the way you are, sweetheart. All right, so
Aw.
wait, let's talk about that though, real quick, because we were talking about a relationship.
hear this.
He's like, I gotta say it another time.
No, I love that you're here because I have a question for you, because we've experienced this with family, right? We've either, outgrown family, or maybe we just wanted to bring them with us and they didn't want to come. But what about with like the relationship, right? Like throughout the years, like the growth. There were times where growth was uncomfortable, and there were times where it was uncomfortable for us to grow, and sometimes that even caused strains inside the relationship, right?
Our relationship or with our family?
Ours, you and mine,
No,
woman.
we're not doing this.
Why not? It's real. That's raw.
Right.
He's
come
like,
get
and
him."
I'm out already.
Yeah.
This was a good episode, guys.
Right? You don't think so?
This was
Right.
I'm just kidding.
And on that note,
When I
No,
shoot
but
my podcast,
This will
we
be
get to
evidence.
Stop and edit stuff out. And
yeah, this is live.
really uncomfortable, guys. It's my good angle.
right?
Jeez.
I'm sweating.
um,
I'm not even in this. I'm sweating.
Oh my goodness.
no, okay, sorry. I don't know, babe. I think we're all right.
All right, it's not bad.
Great start, guys.
but
Gre-
to add to that, and I'm not in your relationship,
Green
but
light.
I can't imagine how hard it is in the relationship when it was harder with people that I wasn't, attached to like that.
Mhm.
So I can't even imagine the
Right.
growth and the uncomfort.
Yeah,
The
like-
uncomfort.
I think, I mean, we've been through so much when it comes to business and relationships and family and everything. And I think, we've agreed to disagree, and then we've disagreed. We've
Yeah.
done all three.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, as long as we've been able to rally together when it really matters, and I think that's what's gotten us through a lot of the things that we have been through when it comes to business. And I think, we've constantly wanted to, again, we want everybody to come with us. And I think, we as a couple have had to, make the decision that that's not always best. And I think that's, and we have made the tough decisions that we've made. And I think that's helped us grow. So I think you're gonna, I don't know. I I think I answered your question.
Yeah, you
As
did
I've
for
turned
sure.
it around
Yeah.
it 1,000 times.
No, you
No.
No, you
didn't.
definitely didn't answer it. But no, I'm kidding.
No, you totally answered
Now I'm
that.
trying not to live throughout the episode. It's going back and forth.
Let's
I
not
think-
bring her back Tuesday.
No.
I think
I
one of
actually
the,
texted him. I was like, "Get Heather here."
I think one of the impressive things, especially with you two, that I see from the outside, all right, this is just a bird's eye view, a spectator's view, is that when in a relationship, in a previous life, almost, you
Yeah.
would say, right?
No,
Like,
100%.
right,
Yeah.
like different focus, different mindset, different goals, different dreams, different desires, right? Like different habits, different patterns, and then to have that transformation happen and stay, like, or get deeper or better through that, that's extremely different to do than I've seen, because typically this, like, we were talking about a significant growth and change,
For sure.
very rarely both do that together,
Right.
Mhm.
right? It's rare. Most of the time one really dives into that space and the other one's like, what the fuck? Right.
Mhm.
And or vice versa, and that makes it where it becomes almost more complicated because it's like a foreign substance to one of them.
Yes, 100%.
Right. And that makes it hard to, especially when you get in this space and it becomes really, like, important to you. Like when you get in personal development, personal growth, and like something hits you, and you're like, oh my God. Right. And you like dive down through that rabbit hole and you start really like digesting books and podcasts and videos and going to conferences. If the other person's like, what? Like, this all stupid.
Okay, so we've been through that. And I will tell you,
but you
he
made
was
it.
the one that started the whole self-love,
Mhm.
self-growth. Like, I'm listening to this guy, this Brian Tracy guy, and I'd be like, you're bananas. Like, what are you doing? This old man's teaching you stuff? Like, I really was not fond of it. So
Let me
he
guess, not
grew.
Zig Ziglar.
No, Brian Tracy's great. I love
Oh,
him
right.
now.
No, yeah. Zig Ziglar.
Yeah, but like
Keep going, babe.
no, but he started his journey first. So we did go through a little bit of time where it was a little bit of a struggle because
Mhm.
I was used to old Bobby. I was
Right.
like, where's that
Mhm.
guy at? Who is
Mhm.
this new guy? You're kind of a dork. But then, I seen the progress and I drank the Kool-Aid.
Right.
I mean, we're here
Drank the
now.
Kool-Aid.
I'm happy about it.
Now that dork started to make money, and you were like, "Oh shit, he's onto something." No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but
No, I'm just kidding.
no, I mean it made sense. I mean, we all
Right.
had to grow up, right?
Got to give a couple shots out. Sasha says, Heather. All right. Also said, beautiful. Ashley Faye, what's up in the house? And Sherry Black said, it is rare. Haven't found anyone that can keep up with me. So I end up letting them go.
Ooh, that's so big.
That is big.
All right.
You know, it's funny, and I'll just say this real quick. It's like both of us, her and I, we fell in love with totally different versions of ourselves
Mhm.
than we're in love with today,
Mhm.
right? And it's
Mhm.
like required this growing, you know what I mean? Like we continued to have to find each other.
Mhm.
But I'm very happy that she put up with my shit in the beginning and we found our way to where we are now, because it sometimes it's tough. And you look in the mirror sometimes and don't recognize yourself, but when it's a
Mhm.
relationship, you look at the other person and you're like, hey, what the heck have you become?
Mhm.
And it can be uncomfortable. Going back to the whole idea, the pros and cons of growth, right, is
Mhm.
like everything on the other side of your comfort zone is growth. It can be success depending, right?
Mhm.
But I know that there's not much growth inside our comfort zone,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so then you almost crave that. You almost just look for ways to become more uncomfortable in your pursuit of what
Mhm.
you're after.
Right. And it's funny. It's the way you said that, right? You become, you want more, right? We had this argument that I said, I don't really get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable anymore because I seek being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, but you're so uncomfortable. I'm like, right, but I don't. It's like, I'm not. I want it, right? You're like, no, but you are it. And we were going back and forth, right? And I was
Can't
like,
relate.
okay, right.
kidding.
But one of the things I really wanted to like also think about, I think that they don't tell us with relationships and all of them, with friendships, with significant others, with family. It's like you have to keep falling in love with that person because they're becoming something. Like we're all
Mhm.
becoming something. It could be better or worse judgments, right? Like you could make it the right person, the wrong person, you can
Right,
make a
yeah.
whole bunch of judgments. But what's happening is we transform, we grow, right? In one way or another, we're all growing, we're all becoming. So that means the person that we were cool with a year ago isn't the same person because they're on their journey. So it's
Mhm.
almost like you're picking over and over again that it's like, yes, 10 years ago, I said we're a thing, right? Like we're it, right? And then 10 years later, complete different people. And you have to keep falling in love with that person over and over. And
Mhm.
that's not easy.
Hell
No.
no.
Right.
Well, we've
It's a
had our struggles.
decision.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to make that.
Right.
You have to commit. That's
And that's hard. Like it's
Mhm.
I think we make it like these easy terms, and they're like almost 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? And it's like, you know how hard it is?
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you
Yeah.
understand this? Like, this is hard, right? Like, imagine just being like, this is it, and we're gonna keep riding
Mhm.
10,
Mhm.
20, 30, 40, 50 years. Like, that's freaking complicated because that person you said I do to 10 years from now is a different person.
Different person.
Did you grow together or did you grow apart?
Yeah.
And if you did
Mm.
grow apart, which does happen, can you grow together? Can you grow
Right.
back together?
Yeah.
And you have to make the commitment, make the decision, but then put in all that goddamn work.
Yeah.
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 I'll
But
give-
shouldn't you?
Ooh.
I don't
Mm.
know. The question is there. So now we go into judgment. Should I don't know if it's a hell of a toxic situation
Right.
and your
Mhm.
mental health is challenged, or right. It's like, when is the point where you're like, fuck this,
Mm.
right? Like, where is too low?
I mean,
Mm.
I think nowadays people are too quick
Mhm.
To quit.
to quit, and I feel like the marriage isn't taken seriously
Right.
at all,
Yeah.
and that's not.
Go ahead.
Okay, because now we're going into an area where I just all of a sudden you see my energy pick up. I'm like,
Mhm.
ooh, right? Because this is one area where I'm like, I get fired up
He
in a
does, yeah.
different way than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will talk that boundary stuff, right? Like, everybody have boundaries, cut people off, do this, do this, do this. And I'm not against getting people out of your life that shouldn't be in your life, right? But at the same point, we could be setting the ground for a bunch of people that have no idea what conflict resolution is,
Mhm.
what worth it
Mm.
is.
Right. Yeah. of
Right,
course.
like we're setting the ground to it be like, oh my god, we disagree on pizza. I can't fucking hang out with this guy because he
Yeah.
doesn't fucking like pineapple. Right, like it's
We
it's,
fuck
it's
with pineapple,
crazy.
though.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's why we're close.
Definitely.
But
Love good
it's
pineapple.
like it's
Hey,
dangerous.
comment pineapple or no pineapple.
Oh.
Comment.
Mm.
Because it's dangerous setting that tone. Like,
If it's no pineapple, do not.
where
love
do you
it.
draw that line?
You might as
Friends.
well just leave the live.
Sorry, Mike.
Sorry.
Sorry, no. The best is they said Michael to stop interrupting people. The whole time. I'm like, I haven't finished the sentence. No, but the idea is Megan Holder said, love this. What's up? And we are starting to get pineapple people, so that's good.
Nice.
Good.
But
That's
it's that where is that line of not creating a bunch of people that are going to be alone victims at 50, because not everyone follows every boundary they set in their life
Mm.
or challenge them in any position of their life.
Oh man, I'm telling you, you're speaking my language too, bro, because it's crazy because as Heather talked about that self-love journey, right? There was a time, right, as we were growing together where I was terrified that in order for her to find her self-love, she would have to do that without me because of the
Mm.
trauma and stuff that I had done in our relationship to cause
Mhm.
issues and feelings that she might have. And so I was hopeful throughout that entire process that she would be able to love herself with me and let me
Mm.
love her too. And I'm very grateful that so far she has been able to. She's giving me this side eye, guys. I'm starting to question it right now.
He's like, don't go too far.
She's
No,
like,
but
funny,
I'm
the
just-
talk we were gonna
it's-
have later.
Well, I'm just
Pineapple.
It's her safe word.
Pineapples.
It's actually her safe word.
no, it's just again, I know these conversations could be uncomfortable and it's part of the topic. It's part of what we're talking about here. But for me, it was terrifying. It really was. This is this person that has played such a major role in my life. And for those of you guys who know my story, 10 years ago, she was a bigger part of my family and I'd lived with her more than I had lived with any other person in my family. Right. So she was such an influence in my life. And I was very hopeful that we'd be able to push through those struggles. And I'm very grateful for
So
that
far,
as well.
So good.
So far, so
I'll
good.
keep you
She's
all
like-
updated.
No
Stay on your
bullshit.
toes.
Did you see her post today on the front porch?
Oh, she looked so good.
Are you
I was
kidding
the first
me?
person to comment. I was like, I am obsessed with you.
All I could
Like,
see
was
was
like,
self-love, like just admitting
absolutely.
from this
I
whole
will
image.
say, since I've met you guys, from then to now, huge difference. And that was what it feels like forever,
I'll
but
go
it's
even
only been
further.
like a year.
I'll go even further. Right?
Yeah.
Now Bobby won't like me. You will.
Yeah.
I'll say in the little over a year that we've known each other, right?
Crazy,
Even though
which
it
is
feels
crazy.
like fucking
Yeah,
forever.
it feels like forever.
This guy, Jesus. No, but it's I would almost say that her growth that I've seen has been greater than his
Been
growth.
greater
Oh,
than his.
100%.
100%. I
Right?
see that. I
100%.
totally agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like,
No offense, but
Right.
she's
What? Are you kidding me? This is a compliment, guys.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. I love
you
watching
can
it. I love
just tell
seeing it.
you love yourself more than what you did,
Thanks.
which is huge.
there is a overwhelming side of people saying pineapple.
Thank
I
God.
think pineapple definitely won. I like Mike Hudson's pineapple hot sausage and banana peppers.
Ooh, that sounds
That freaking
banging.
sounds great.
That's
I
interesting.
love
Yo,
banana peppers.
let's place an order, bro. Let's get a
Right?
pizza up in this joint. Quatre's like, you ain't gotta tell me shit.
That sounds good.
I
at
do
Wawa
love this
soup.
conversation. This does sound better than Wawa soup.
Yeah.
I do love this conversation that's kind of through comments, right? Lee Carr says sometimes alone is the best piece.
That's
Mm.
true.
That is true.
Yeah.
Right. And then Sherry said one of the basic human needs is love. If you don't know how to fill it in a healthy way, we will fill it in an unhealthy way.
Mm.
Right. And I always talk about those holes we fill through things. Now, one thing I do want to I talk about, because yes, I love alone time. Maybe more than that sounded bad. I love alone. The way you
I was
looked
like,
at me when I
okay.
said it, I was like, oh yeah. No, but I do love like being alone and collecting my thoughts and like really just diving into this
Solitude.
space. Right.
Mhm.
And also sometimes I find some of my most creative moments in that when it's not, even though sometimes it is when we bounce ideas, but sometimes mine are just when I'm just sitting there. I don't want us to forget about the connection piece to life. That
Mm.
is extremely important too.
Yeah.
Right. Because if we don't get connection through things, right, we will start feeling isolated. And that's one of the key components of like injurious behavior or suicide. Right. So we always want to, as much as I love alone time, I understand I need to connect
Mhm.
too. So I'll do that like introvert, extrovert moments of my life.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
No. I think you're absolutely right. I think what's super interesting in it, at least for me, I want to say this because this is what worked for me. I do sometimes imagine a life without the people that contribute to how I feel every day.
Mm.
And I sometimes imagine in those moments, could I find happiness in myself? Could I love myself enough? And while I, am very grateful for the people that are in my life, that is the one thing that I do kind of imagine and consider. And if the answer is no, I usually, go into that place and try to do some internal work, because for me, at least, it becomes really healthy. Because
Mm.
as I've shared with you guys, before, and I think we may even touched on this topic last week, in 1 year, there were so many important people in my life that were no longer a part of my life.
Mm.
And the common denominator was me. So it was easy to go into this place of, this is me, right? Like, it's my fault. It's something I did. And so for me, I really had to dive into the idea of like, wait, no, hold on, Bobby, you're a fucking badass. All right. Like, you're a good person. You're doing good things for people.
I believe you actually said that.
I 100% say that. I say it often. In fact,
We know.
dude.
Hating on his growth.
No,
Just kidding.
but on some real shit. But what it does for
That's
me,
part
at
of
least
it.
in my genuine opinion, it allows me to love better, right? It allows me to know that I'm 100% in love with myself, right? I'm not on some TO shit walking around the field talking about I love me some me. There are times, but my point is because I can say that I love myself 100%, I feel like I'm in a much better position to love others.
Right.
Mm.
I would a piece of that I would be like, I would just say a different perspective.
I
It
like
was you, but it was because you were bettering you.
Sure.
Right. So
Yeah.
sometimes it is me,
Right.
but if it's me because I'm doing something better for the ones I love the most, or myself, right, or our community, then and other people have a problem with that, then it was me, but now we got to see what their intentions were and why they were where they were,
Mhm.
right, and why they moved from that.
Yeah.
So it's like I always say, I'll give everyone an opportunity to make their decision,
Yeah.
and then I'll act accordingly.
For sure. Even if it was, right, even if it was me, that journey that I went on
Mhm.
was so healthy. At least
100%.
I feel like that today. Like, I feel like on the flip side of that, again, uncomfortable, tons of growth, but it just
Right.
put me in a way better place.
Right. I always say that about
Yeah.
my life. Like the reason why me and some of the people that I knew the longest and we thought we were like forever, right? The reason why we don't talk or associate anymore is because of me, right? It's because I decided to be better. I
Right.
decided to change my life. I decided to have a better outlook, to go for a further destination, to be about more, right? To have more substance of myself, right? So I will not put that on them.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't some contract where it was like, you have to agree with my growth. Right? Like it was me. And I had to own that and say it was, but it was worth doing. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing fair. It's, is it worth it or not?
Right.
And it's like to be the you are right
Oh
now,
yeah,
100%
for
worth
sure.
it.
Yeah. Oh no, that's non-negotiable.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's truth.
Yeah.
There's a difference between true and truth. That's truth.
Mm.
What's up, Doug? Doug jumped in the room.
What
Sorry.
up, Doug?
Doug.
Also, what's up, Rachel? There
Hey,
you go.
Rachel.
Hey, Rachel. Sorry.
Happy International
good.
Women's Day.
You're good.
All right. I can't mock women today at all.
You
No,
cannot.
no, it's illegal actually.
Yeah.
It is.
Just on March 8th.
We're gonna start charging you. every
Oh
time
shit,
you
it's a
go.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
I know
Speaking
I'm
of fine, what's up, baby? What's up?
But I think what you said too brings up a great
Put
point.
the
of
money,
like,
make me
Handsomer.
handsomer.
You knew exactly what I was doing.
Shout out TikTok.
that was lame.
You-
Hey, we interrupted Mike that time.
No,
Sorry.
I do think no.
He had a limit.
right?
He had a long
Yeah, yeah,
streak.
Oh
right?
shit, he had a
Down
character limit. He had a
That
character
camera.
limit.
Finally.
He had a character limit, bro.
That camera
I
right there
finally
is
have a
gonna
run.
die.
I finally did you have to do this? With
Yeah.
the dolphins?
100%.
The plane was landing. Right? But I do think we often talk about personal growth and how big it is and how people should do it. But there is a good and bad component to it.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be talked about because things are going to change. And that means some relationships are going to change and some patterns and habits are going to change and people are going to change around you. And that's going to happen.
And it's gonna hurt
Right.
because you're gonna want to take people with you.
Ooh,
Right.
yeah.
Man, it's so that's the hardest part, man. When you, especially, when you see somebody struggling that you care about and love, you want to bring them with you so bad, right? And it's so like your intent is so good in that moment, but they just don't want to come, or they only want to come so far. And then at some point you got to let go because they're keeping you there at the peak of their comfort zone.
Dude, I'm not supposed to talk more. I was told I'm interrupting too much.
Who said that?
But I do want to say one thing.
I do want to get this.
Hold on.
I'm not going to talk anymore, but
I'm
real
not-
quick, who does that sound like, babe?
I'm
Kanye?
done.
Me. No, fucking me.
Kanye.
Him.
But Beyonce had the best single of all time.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you talk, and I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish, but
Right, I'm gonna let you finish after me.
Perfect.
The idea I'll never forget when I was
Yeah,
I
for real.
was when I was there's like what the hell is happening?
I told you you were gonna have fun.
Right?
I'm just
You're smiling.
I'm taking
When
it
you
all.
came in,
That's
you
what
didn't
she
have quite
said.
a smile.
It's a pure uncomfortableness.
Smiles are a lot of muscles. So when I was doing this thing of growing and trying to be better and trying to move this movement further, the Unleash You not moving at this time, I think it was CMF at this
Yeah.
time. And one of the biggest hurdles I had was leaving some people behind, right?
I wasn't gonna let you.
I thought
Give me
you
a
were like
C. First, give me a
talking
C, then it turned to a fist.
I
I was like, is this guy trying to do
There's
letters?
shit going on in
Right?
here.
See, I didn't see that. I just saw. I
Oh,
was like,
it
he
started
wasn't
with
trying
a
to
C.
fucking-
I was like, C. Oh.
Dude, I
I'm
don't
sorry.
know sign language.
Oh.
Well, Jesus.
So that's never mind. So I was actually speaking, and the guy that spoke the same day I did came up to me. He was just like, dude, is it okay if I say something that I really don't know anything about you, but I think this? And I was like, that's a weird way to come up to me, right? But I was like, sure, I would love to hear it, right? And now I'm mocking him because I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you know me, right? Go ahead, and all your wisdom of 0 conversations together.
Nice.
And he was like, here's your problem. Where you
Bold.
come from, you don't let your people go because then it makes you a fraud, right? Like it makes you a fake, right? It's what people make fun of where you come from,
Okay.
right?
I'm with
And I
you.
was like,
I
so
see.
I'm like,
Okay.
all right, like, yeah, you're a sellout. If you
No, he's saying like you don't leave your people behind.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I got you.
We're like,
I know. It's
You don't
okay.
leave your people.
You
'cause
don't
you're
leave your
a
people
fraud.
behind because that would make you a fraud.
Fraud.
You
I
got to
got
bring your
you.
boys with you.
Right, yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta bring your boys
I
with you.
completely understand.
And that's right where I was. Like I
Yeah.
was like, I had to bring my boys with me. So I
Yeah.
was like, come on. And he goes, and that's all because like you're a selfish biatch, right? Like you're a selfish punk. I was like, right now,
I need somebody to connect these dots.
there's some terms that you can use to me that really get my attention.
Selfish isn't one of them, or is one of them.
Not the second part is
Oh.
really one of them because there's times I am selfish, so I get it. But the second one, I'm like, oh, prove it, right? Like this is just something that has to be proved now, right? And
Show me.
So so they're like, and what I mean by that is that there's someone in your journey in front of you that is sitting there suffering,
Oh yeah, we talked.
dying, waiting for you because you're the one that's meant to serve them.
Ooh,
Mhm.
And you're too scared because someone might call you a name to move forward to save them.
ooh, spit that shit.
Right? And I was like, mother, right? Like son of a,
you.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, phew, someone sent him,
Right.
right? But when he said it, I was like, I don't really know about that. Right? Like, but I was thinking about it, I was like, holy shit,
Wow.
you're right. I thought I was trying not to leave my people, and I wasn't. But also that was the easier way,
Yeah.
right? Because then I had an excuse. I have to stay with my people, not I gotta leave to make sure I get to the people I need to get to. And
So
then
you were-
after that,
Go ahead.
no. I
So
interrupt
you were
everybody.
too busy saving someone and people who did not want to be saved that you couldn't get to the person that you really needed to save and
That was
needed
meant
you
to
to
talk
save
to.
them.
And
Right.
then you Uno reversed that on me. That's what we talked about last week.
No reversed. I like
Yeah.
this.
Right? Dropped it. I was like, what?
Like that saying. Remember, we talked about that last week on here when he said the Coast Guard.
Yeah,
thing.
right.
Oh, the Coast Guard story.
Yeah.
I'll say it again.
No, that's
Yeah,
that
no.
is- but that's
Tune in
yeah,
last
that's
week.
yeah. Check out last week's
Yeah.
episode for that one. No, I want to get into the imposter syndrome conversation too, because I think that there's a lot of people in here that there's a couple things here. One, well, I'll let you explain it, right? Let's explain it for what it is,
Mhm.
and then let's dive into the conversation. So your
Nice.
definition of imposter syndrome.
When you don't feel comfortable with reality, I think it's a short way of saying it.
I think we need more than that.
Yeah, I feel like I need a little more than that.
So here's my problem with imposter syndrome. All right, I really
Google
think
definition.
no, I think it's a lack of imagination. That's what I think imposter syndrome really it comes down to is a lack of imagination. No worry. All right, so God, this is why I didn't want to talk. I literally just talked, and she's already texting
I
people. that
asked
says
you
I
the
don't shut
question.
up.
No,
She's
we're
he's,
No, I'm
she's
Googling
googling
it.
imposter
Do
syndrome.
you want to
So-
hear it?
Oh God, tell
Yes.
me
Oh,
the
you got it.
Imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud.
Mm.
And
Right.
it it typically affects high achieving people.
100%.
We're gonna
who
get to
find-
that.
And it
I'm gonna let you
also-
finish, but I'm gonna say
let
something.
me say this part
Go ahead.
though. It says after that it affects high achieving people who find it difficult to accept their accomplishments.
Yes.
Mm.
So for any of you that are listening and hear other people telling you how great you are doing, and it doesn't sit well with you, and you're like, "Oh, I'm not doing that great, guys. Like, I'm doing okay." You're starting. That's imposter syndrome brewing, right?
Mm.
Because everybody else is singing your praises, and you are like, "Oh no, I'm not that great yet. No, I'm not good.
So
I'm not that
pot's
good."
been brewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Faber,
I don't know what
Mm.
happened.
his definition. I
His
was like, hold
definition.
up, because I definitely have. I've had that issue.
Well, I know.
Oh, so you were coming at my neck.
No.
What did he say?
I was
Were they
being
not
honest.
creative? He said they're not.
They lack
They lack
imagination.
imagination.
Right, they like
Yeah.
imagination.
I do that
because,
all the time.
It's a disconnect between like soul and mind. So this psychologist was talking on the same place, and I love listening to people speak, right? Like I'm weird like that. And well, what I've heard in this business is that I'm supposed to come in and do some crazy shit for 30, 45 minutes and then leave immediately because that makes me a star. And I'm not very good at that. I like to hear and I like to sit and listen. And he said, this is where the big problem is. He said it's one of these or the other. It's that you've never envisioned yourself where you are, so you've never seen this. So when you walk in and see it, it's completely new and different to you, so you don't believe it.
Mhm.
And he said that's why he works with all his people about vision, right?
Yeah.
actually visualization exercises of people seeing themselves doing everything they want to do in their life. So when they get to that moment, they don't go, "This is not my moment." No, it's I already seen this a million times, right? And athletes, that's huge. With the one that trained Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, like they would every big situation, they would visualize themselves in it, right? Like this quarter, second quarter, fourth quarter, this amount of time, this score, this play, this has to happen, right? And like they would just visualize themselves doing everything. So then when they were in that moment again, they would be like, "I've been here,
Right.
right? Like this is nothing new. I belong here."
Mm.
Right. And that's where I get into creative and imagination. It's because our disconnect is where we truly are and what we believe in ourselves to be.
Mhm.
Right. And if we can just say, that's why I say, just be honest. Right. If you're just honest, you'll know. Right. Like you've accomplished everything you have in your life. If you're just honest, you'll see it. Right. That doesn't mean you won the Powerball at $1 billion. Right. But we're not asking you to see that. Right. We're asking you just to see the things you did. And that's all of us, not just you. I don't want you to feel like no. Well, hello, hot seat. No.
Heather Jones.
And this has become the hot seat moment. No. But so for me, it was like, oh shit, like hold up. One, if we can just visualize all the shit we're gonna do when we get there, we'll be like we've been there, so it won't be anything different for us. Right. And then two, if we can connect those dots between the thought of ourselves to the reality of ourselves, and then we'll never fall into that moment. So before
then maybe
that,
I don't have imposter syndrome.
right? So before that, I had imposter syndrome before that, and then hearing the talk, just doing what he said, I was just like, oh shit, all right, like, cool, I'm all right.
Yeah, no, for me, it's people like they come to me and are impressed with some of the things I've done. I'm not impressed with myself and the things that I've done. So maybe that's my issue. I'm like, it's not a big deal. Like,
well, no, I think that and this is my opinion. Again, I want to make sure I preface that with this. My thought is if you look at those moments, right, as a part of something much bigger, right? Because think about this. If you're dealing with imposter syndrome and you're having a hard time accepting what you are doing or that you could be the badass that everybody sees you as, well, then how could you even envision something bigger than your current position, right? Like, wouldn't that alone like stifle your growth because you're having a hard time accepting the badass that you are? How could you then accept the badass that you will be?
Hold on, but what if people are, so I'll give myself an opinion from this past weekend. You're like, I have to shut up. With the men's retreat, when as a planner, I'm seeing everything throughout the entire event that I can do better. So when people are like, oh, you killed it, like this was great, and I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. To me, and I don't see this as an imposter. I mean, I have dealt with that before. I don't see it as that because I could see how much better I could have been.
right.
And isn't that more growth than just accepting what I was?
Exactly.
Well, could
it's like,
have
oh,
been-
this is good for now.
Could
Like,
have been is different than how I'll do next time. Do you see what I
But
mean?
I feel like, yes, I understand your verbiage on
I just
that.
want to remind you it's Women's Day.
Go ahead.
But
You just
that's
can't question us,
but
we're right.
truly, I understood what you said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cutting in and out. Go ahead.
I understood what you said when you said that, because to me, like, yes, I knew what I did was good, great, whatever, but I know it could have been exponentially better that I'm going to do next time. And each time we should be looking at, when you said making yourself uncomfortable, being better than we were the last fucking time. Like, I feel like cool, yeah, thanks, but could have been way better because
Right.
I'm constantly critiquing myself. That doesn't mean I'm awful at what I do.
Right. Exactly.
So I critique myself all the time. We shot video this weekend 100% with the intent of how can I do this better next time, but
Sure.
not that what that isn't is let me beat up how I just did, or
Sure.
let me go over, what ifs,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's how can I improve in the future? And I know like you'll go, and I know Mike can go back to these conversations. I'm like, cause I'm going to crush this shit next time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not about, go ahead.
No, I mean, like 100%. What we can improve on doesn't belittle the performance we had.
Correct.
Sure.
Right? We could still have an excellent performance and realize we can get better.
Fucking right.
Right?
Sure.
Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah, I
every
agree.
GOAT or great of all time has done that, has had a great performance. They did do great. It wasn't like nah, bro, you sucked. You could have made that extra pass there or hit that shot there. Like, no, it's like, all right, cool. I did do great and I can even do better. And that keeps us hungry.
Yeah.
Right. So we want
Sure.
those moments to be like, this was great and we can even do better, because that's when you really get into something.
Right.
Right. Like that's when you get that like weird, I call it weird passionate. Right. Like I call it Narnia.
Yeah.
Right. Because you start speaking a language, people are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Right. Because it's just, you get so into it. It's like
Yeah.
a mythical land. I do want to read some people's shit because we do have some people commenting.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Quantre, would you mind just checking to see if there's anything on that one too? I mean, I know Mike's more popular than I am, but
No, on
we should
TikTok,
at least see.
definitely not. Mr. A Million views. Hey, I got 1,000. Oh my God, I got 1 million today. I was like, wow, you could have waited a day or something. Thank you.
I don't think it ever quite played out that way.
I was like, I guess I got to get better. Okay.
We're like,
You
we
know-
had 1,000 views on our reel.
But don't
Bobby's
beat
like,
yourself
that's
up.
Cute.
You know-
That's cute.
Right, you know what it was
That's-
like?
No.
said that.
You know
But
what it was like?
that's the reaction. Like I feel like I don't even
Yeah.
try to say anything, but I feel like it's like that's cute.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, that's how
Wow.
Bobby is with us when we do this. Right.
And then we'll talk ego.
Yeah.
Right. Sheree says,
He
totally
has
agree.
no
But
issue with
improvement
imposter
versus
syndrome.
not
I'm just
believing we
kidding.
can do it different, right? She also said, thinking in the past what we could have done versus future. What can I learn from it?
Mhm.
Yes.
Sherry says your vision continues to grow as it should.
Mhm.
Mike Hudson said, with the way that society just beats us down on a daily basis, I would think a lot of people suffer from imposter syndrome. 100% I would, but then I also say, like, if that's how you feel, what can you do differently that you don't feel like you're being beat down on a daily basis too?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? Like people,
Absolutely.
places, things. What are you doing, listening to, reading, watching? Right?
Mhm.
Like,
So you need to reevaluate what you're doing in your life. If everything is attacking you and that's how you feel, yeah, you got to reevaluate what you're allowing in your life and what you're
Mhm.
reading and seeing. Like, guess what? The news is super negative, so I turn
yeah.
the news off.
right.
For
Right?
sure.
Especially right now. So
Mhm.
yeah, little things will make a huge difference.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny, and I don't prescribe this or suggest this or anything, but
Subscribe.
prescribe because
Doctor?
I'm
Doctor
Dr.
Bob.
Dre. I'm Dr. Brightside now. Got a ring to it. We'll wait for the PhD for that one.
Yes, sir.
Now going back to, it's actually funny because I think that the conversations from last week to this week overlap a little bit for me. And again, I don't recommend this for other people, but I will say that this invites me in more when I see how crowded the spaces are with people who are underqualified.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? And
Great.
so my thing is like, I oftentimes look around at the people that are crushing it in a space, and in no way do I feel like I am less qualified or talented than they are.
mm.
And so, again, I don't recommend this as a solution to this, because I do think it can be deeper than that if you're really struggling with imposter syndrome. But for me, that's like a boost. You know what I mean? It kind of like says, dude, you are welcome here.
Right.
Mhm.
There's a couple things that, because I used to be in a weird headspace where it was like, back in the day, I would have to listen to like,
Bro,
Bob-
you're still in a weird headspace, but keep going now,
It's
dude.
much better, but yeah, it's still
Daily.
weird. I would listen to like Bob Marley, Three Birds, and Don't Worry, Be Happy, like every day before I walked in the building. I had to get my mindset into a place where I didn't just want to kill everybody. Right? Yeah, it's really good, right? No one has ever been in that situation, just me. No, I'm kidding. But but then I had a playlist that was like a pep you up playlist. I started doing grateful and thankful meditation, which is really just saying 3 things you're grateful in the morning and 3 things you're thankful at night. Right? I think Spencer Jones stole that shit from me. this past
Shout
weekend.
out to the Prince of
Right?
Positivity
Stole that shit
himself.
right from me and made it into a paper. I was like, that mother. No. When he's like, tell me your routine. I made this paper. Like, no, I'm kidding. But so it would be where all of it was to set my mindset to be positive, right? To be solution based, to be growth, right? And I had to set, like, purposely, I would set reminders on my phone. Hey, 15 minutes, go to YouTube and listen to Jim Rohn or Les Brown, or right,
Oh,
like
shit.
just to listen to one of those that can get you into a positive mindset or a go get it mindset.
Damn.
And I had to do that stuff to then make the habit and patterns that I wanted to have, rather than one thing go wrong. Right? Spencer Jones started laughing. And I'm playing. Spencer Jones is amazing, and he is the Prince of Positivity. And he killed it this weekend.
He fucking crushed it.
Stole my shit. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my
But
God.
I'm playing. I'm
You
playing.
need to turn on some Katy
Um,
Perry fireworks.
I'm
Calm down.
gonna turn some Adele
Maybe
on.
our fireworks.
turn some Adele on. Hello. No. I'm saying hi. It was a real bad voice, but that was my Adele voice.
Oh, Lord.
It's like someone told Spencer I was talking about him or something.
Yeah.
He jumped
No.
in right when we said it.
Yeah,
Spidey
right when
senses
you
was
jumped in.
tingling.
Right? Well, I was just gonna say what we were arguing about earlier, but it's if you feel like that, what can you do to program yourself to be not in that place or state?
Right. Yeah.
And to actually, because when you see life as constantly beating you down,
Mhm.
that's a rough spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, there's not a lot of great things that are going to come from a position when you feel like that and think like that and think that's what it is around you and everywhere.
Facts. I mean, it was a mic drop moment. You can't drop that mic; it's too expensive. But
I was like, watch me.
Not gonna ever boom.
no, it was good. I like that though. That you and those things that work for you, just harness them, use them as tools, like Mike was just talking about. I mean, that's if it works for you, let it work for you. Don't take somebody else's recommendation just because they recommended it. Use what works for you. I love that. What was the other topic? Did you ladies have anything you wanted to add to that before we went on to the other topic? What was the other topic? I don't remember.
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship. I mean, we've been discussing that the whole time too, right? No, but it's this overlap for all of it is there. Why does
Why is he looking like
yeah, I'm
that?
like, guys, I'm not stumped. I promise you.
No.
It's the
Yeah,
it's the fluttering of the lashes.
Yeah, there it is.
They're clear, but they bang.
Not the bang.
Bing bong. Look,
Do not.
look,
Oh, man.
look, it's like I'm a TikTok expert now.
I cannot stand
He gets
that.
upset on our calls because he doesn't watch TikTok.
I don't want, and I think everybody goes to these TikTok rituals.
really-
don't see TikTok
I really don't
enough.
watch TikTok either. Like,
So-
I
have
do,
to tell-
guys. I do.
I have to tell this story, which was really funny. We, for the men's retreat this past weekend, we get the Island Boys, not the ones that you're thinking from TikTok. And we were on a call, and Michael was like, "Yeah, we have the Island, the steel drum guy come in, Island Boys," and just the same exact moment on our call, me and Bobby go, "Island Boys." Michael has no idea, so he's like, "Yeah, is that what they're known for?"
I was like, yeah, the Island Boys.
And
Yeah.
we just keep saying that. I'm like, it's from TikTok, but you wouldn't know. He's like, oh, I'm looking TikTok, whatever.
So, like, I'm never on TikTok, but I knew that.
Island Boys. I'm like, yeah, the Island Boys from the
Did
island.
you guys show
No.
him? Like, he
He
knows?
He did.
No.
He showed me.
They
I
would
didn't.
not have gotten an invite to the mastermind.
No, absolutely not.
I don't know what value they would have
Absolutely
brought.
none.
He showed me a picture.
Yeah.
That's how much I saw of
I
that.
mean, maybe some good weed.
Yeah, that's probably about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
bet. Yeah, probably. Probably. So entrepreneurship.
Do
Yes.
it. Just do it.
Just do it, guys.
Do it.
Do it.
I actually like the post that you posted earlier about that.
I was getting fired up.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was good.
I was getting fired up about that damn
Tell us
post.
about
was
it.
good.
Tell us about
Nice
the people
picture,
that
by the
didn't
way.
hear it.
Thank you. It's
Or
like someone
see it.
picked it for me. Bobby was
You're
like,
picking his
Bobby
was like-
relationships.
Yes, but not his outfits yet.
right.
Coming soon. Coming to a relationship near you.
This might be one of those things that you have to grow without.
Oh no, we haven't
Uh,
talked about that
Bobby
yet
was very
after the show.
Bobby was very aggressive with the green lights. First, it was like a stop light and then a green heart. And then he was like, green light for me. But what photo are you using? I was like, I don't know. Which one do you think I should use? He sent me 3. He goes, one of these 3s will do. I'm like,
Will do.
all right. I did use one of the 3 too, because clearly I was nervous.
Hilarious.
Right? I was like, look at us, our relationship.
I
Right.
think you
Michael,
guys
turn
have
your hat around.
progressed, like,
Okay.
More than I. Like,
Gonna
I
say.
can't get him to pick out stuff for me.
Every morning, Michael wakes up and sends Bobby a picture. And you think this is good for today?
Yeah. Is this outfit all right?
That does not happen. No.
I think it might.
That's
No.
funny.
I feel like it might eventually.
But yeah,
So-
He's
so not
asking
the
him, and then he asked our 17-year-old daughter, "Do you think this looks
Do you think
this looks
okay? Right.
Oh, it's always
Yeah.
Ariana. Shout out to Ariana. She dresses me. I mean, I pick out the outfit. I walk out, but like, Ariana approval. She's like, you're good. I'm like, let's go. And if she says
Literally.
anything other than that, I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? She's like,
What
yeah,
needs to
switch those
change up?
shoes, Dad. Switch those shoes.
don't show my picture. Don't be like, what does he need to do? Don't do that.
No.
Just okay, just
Not for
show
you,
me.
fool.
She's literally gonna be
Just
like
need to-
everything.
Everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tell him start
No.
with a shave. and dye his clear eyebrows.
No, if I ever do that with another grown ass man, my daughter's gonna be like, no,
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
and don't ever ask me that again.
You're
Let's
welcome.
not tell mom.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But anyway,
You like
There's-
stared.
there's this like trend of this entrepreneurship post,
This shit got weird.
right?
Go ahead.
So I was like,
Bring
I'm
us back,
coming
Mike.
Yeah, please.
Bring us
You
back,
know
Mike.
it's bad if I bring us back.
Yeah.
right? That's
you
a
took
real-
us out to sea.
If we were in deep water, if I'm like, yo, we gotta start going back, guys.
Let's go back.
Like,
All right, let's
kinda
talk
like-
about the
Kind
post.
of like you left the hose in the pool overnight.
Yeah,
They made an
They-
island boy.
I was like, what?
they were, they could swim. They were fine.
yeah, everybody was all right. We had a
It
bigger,
is Women's Day.
Yeah.
bigger pool.
Come on, guys.
Fine.
It's Tuesday,
Right.
not Wednesday.
Every day is
Um,
Women's Day.
It is.
So,
right.
but entrepreneurship. There's a post going around about entrepreneurship as a trend. That's
Yeah, let's
copy-
talk about
copy
the
and
Yeah,
paste.
original
there's a
post.
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
a trend.
There's a post. There's
a
post
trending
that's
post,
trend,
is what he's
yeah.
trying to say.
Rough crowd.
Did you raise your hand, Quantra?
I thought he was like trying to.
He's like, yo, are
Yeah,
we
no.
ordering that pizza for real? Or
That shit
He gives
sounds
two shits
really
about
good.
this kind
Almost said bussin'.
But it's like I'm talking about how hard entrepreneurship is, and like give us a break for being an entrepreneur. Like be nicer to us,
No,
right? Thank you. Right?
you
That's what I
fucking
said.
picked it.
Ooh.
Thank you. That's literally.
Ew.
Did
You know
read
what?
his
Actually,
post?
so I
love
didn't.
it.
I see. So I don't know if
She doesn't
it's the
read my
same.
posts. They're too long. She said.
They are really long.
She said if there's a see more,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing
You
more.
can print your post out and
Okay,
it'd be
that
a
is
book.
absolutely
You're
true,
still
but
getting
that
a
is
heart
not-
out of me and
you-
2 comments.
They have nothing to do
They
with
would have
it.
nothing to do with this. The blue and green never fails. It's
No,
Literally.
blue and green hearts.
He's-
Let's go.
Seriously, yeah.
Never
And a
fails.
share.
Okay, so I'm really bad about that. Okay, I have a problem with the Seymour. Like you lost me.
He's actually a
beginnings
nice
are
guy.
Amazing,
Yeah.
but I don't know how they end.
Yeah, no. It's like a bad movie. You just don't know how it ends.
No, but I think I have seen.
I made him
Yeah.
laugh. Sorry.
He is that dude.
I fuck
Quantre is
with
that
Quantre.
dude.
Shout out to Quantre.
He can never get on camera. He always has to be that dude that no one really. It's like in I'm old, Tim the Tool Man, where the neighbor with the hat
Oh, Wilson.
and Wilson, you never saw him. That's him. It's
No,
like you know
no, we
he's there
can't. We can't keep him a
and his
secret.
presence-
We got to get him on
It's not
camera.
a secret. His presence is felt. It doesn't even have to be seen.
He's like, no, thank you.
We're just gonna put a mic over there and a
Yeah,
camera that
there.
way, and then that way he could just get involved
Dude,
right from his
I
station,
actually-
Put a
his
camera on
battle
his
station.
chest.
So no, I
On a
absolutely love that idea to give him a
Yeah,
mic
actually,
and then
that's
little
fucking
camera, and then he
smart.
can like click a button when he has something he wants
Oh,
to say.
that's dope.
And like
Yeah.
You don't
bring
even
him
have
into
to.
the
Yeah, so you
conversation.
never have to put
Like
yourself on it.
excuse me, y'all are wrong.
Oh, that's dope.
I
Because
like
we could do
that.
like a mic switcher. Because I was about to say we only got 4 inputs over here, but we could do a mic switcher and run one over there. You could press a button and be like, interrupt.
You're welcome.
And he's like,
Yeah.
I will never press
So
that button.
let's
That's fire.
bring it back.
I put you on
Yeah.
the map, bruh.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
the original post is
No, you have
Yeah.
a great voice. You should do love songs.
defending entrepreneurship. Like, take it easy on us.
Say like, be
Right.
kind. or
Like, be
whatever.
kind to us because the stress we have from it. I'm like-
Absolutely not. I think I've seen that post, and I think I know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
And I didn't share it because I was like, "Are you kidding me?
Right.
Why do we need like? I don't need your pity. I chose this life.
Right.
You didn't choose it for me. Like I
Unless you
I-
started a nonprofit, right? Charity.
like yeah,
We're not leading with the sympathy thing.
Right.
No.
Right.
Right.
no.
Like it was to me. First, I was like, hell yeah, because anytime I see a post for entrepreneurs, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's rock.
Right.
And I was reading it, I was just like, whoa, like,
Right.
The
Right.
only time I want you to
Oh,
feel
thank
bad for
you.
me is tax time.
That's the only time. When you got the new Yeezys and I don't, like, that's it.
I don't
right?
even need you to feel bad. I just need you to buy me a meal.
So the only thing I will say about entrepreneurship is it's not as glamorous as it seems,
100%.
right? And I think that's one thing that people need to understand. But don't ever, like, I would never ask. I don't need you to be kind to me because I chose to be my own
Can't we
boss.
just be kind because we're people? But
Thank
let's
you.
pretend like
Right.
that's not it.
that annoys me.
Yeah.
Right.
To
It's
no
like
end.
let's embrace victim mentality in a space that requires you to not have victim mentality.
Right.
Mm.
If you want to be kind to me for something, maybe make it like I have 6 teeth left on the top or something. But don't make it entrepreneurship. I picked that shit. I love it. Like
Right.
I love being an entrepreneur. Right. Like I'm all in on that shit. Like that stuff gets me high.
Yeah.
It's like don't feel bad for me. I love that shit. Like I'm lucky. I'm blessed that I get
We
to
had
do it.
options.
Yeah. Like
Mhm.
I picked this because I wanted this.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to go so hard to say that you don't want to support each other, through the journey, because that's
Yeah, that's
we're all
different.
about
Oh, yeah.
that. But being like that, that verbiage of like, be kind to me because I started my own business.
Even some of
Right.
the stuff it said in it was like, well, some people aren't going to support you. That's fucking life.
Right.
Like
Right.
some people are
Right.
going to buy your shit. I'm like, no shit. That's
Right.
life. Like,
Also,
no
all
one buys
an-
everything.
all entrepreneurs aren't doing good shit either.
Right.
Like,
right.
what are you talking about? You know how many home improvement fraud there? How much
True.
home improvement fraud there is?
You
in
know
the
how many
sp-
funnel frauds there are?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like the idea that you're just an
I know
entrepreneur, so
what.
you're our hero. Like you're not my hero, bro, because
Right.
you might. And the other side is like this is a conversation that came up at the mentor retreat. Is like this pursuit of serving your client in the best way possible. Not every entrepreneur has embraced that. A lot of entrepreneurs are like, I'm going to be the cheapest. I'm going to go out
Mhm.
here and I'm going to do the bare minimum for my clients. And so again, you know, you're shooting yourself in the foot that way. But my point is that you're not getting a special treatment. You're not getting a pass because you have your own business, right? You have to earn everything that's on the other side of that. You picked this hard. You didn't pick the hard of working a 9 to 5. So embrace it and pursue greatness.
Right. Also, like, and I get into this in different spaces. I'm not going to any political here, but for me, your profession does not show your worth.
Mhm.
That's just a
Absolutely.
profession.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
person you are shows your worth.
For sure.
Right.
Right. Like, that's why anyone's like, back a profession. I'm like, no, I back a person. There's shitty people doing that, and we shouldn't make them exempt because they do that.
Right.
Right. It's like what priests did that we learned about years and years and years ago.
Mhm.
Right. And we shouldn't be like, come on, guys, they're priests. Like, no, fuck that. Right. Like, get them.
Mhm.
Right. Because the person they are, I don't care what they do.
Yeah,
I
that's
care
an
the person
interesting
they are.
concept too, and that can actually. So for me, I'll bring this up real quick, and we can move on. But so I had imposter syndrome a little bit in that spot, right? So hear me out for a second. Hear me out, girl. Damn, girl.
Talk about.
Never mind. It's
Go
not
ahead,
worth
have
it.
fun.
It's like I'm just kidding.
I was like, damn.
Show's over.
Show's over. No, so what I'm saying is right. So like I started a roofing business, right? And so, but when I would get around like people who had like an eye doctor's office and owned an eye doctor business, I felt like less adequate in the
Yeah.
beginning. Until I was like, nah, bro, I'm crushing my shit over here.
Right.
And I can probably help you with your shit too. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like it took growth for me because
100%.
I talk about the first time that I got into like the networking group that you know, Master Networks that I'm a part of. He knew I was going to bring a plug into that. But when I walked into the very first group, I was in there as a roofer in a space where there was a doctor, there was a chiropractor, there was a accountant, an attorney, and I was like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong room. But then by the end, like I felt like I was in the right room, right? And so like for me, I felt that immediate presence of these like, you know, superior professionals, right? Until I realized that I'm just as much a badass as they are,
Right.
you know, and I actually might even be better.
Right.
Right.
So, listen, when I was like the landscape guy or the food truck guy, or,
Right,
like,
right. Yeah, no,
it was
100%.
like, there was times where I was like, that people would be like, come on, bro.
Right. But my
You do a
point
food
is,
truck.
like, you don't have to, like, you were talking about backing a profession,
Mhm.
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Like, if somebody starts a business in one area versus another,
Mhm.
you know, that was just something for me.
Right.
Like, I felt less adequate because I was just a roofer,
Right.
you know?
Which
The
is funny that you did with doctors, because most of them are in like $200,000 worth of debt.
I
At
know.
least.
Oh, I learned that real quick when
Yeah.
people couldn't get approved for loans. I was like, in this
Just a nurse
big ass
saying
house,
that.
you can't get approved for a roof.
Cherise, we missed a lot of comments, but Cherise said, I think the more professional, the more full of shit you are. I was like, I get it. I dig that.
Facts.
Right.
But
Facts.
also, like, one of the things too, it's like we put so much stock in the perceived prestige of certain things and people,
Yeah.
right? Rather than just saying this is what they do because they studied it and hopefully mastered it and hopefully got good at it. But this is who they are. And this should outweigh this every day of the week.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's like, because I'm on route, don't give me anything. That give me anything because of who I am, not because of what I do. Right.
Yep.
It's who I am as a person.
I like that.
Mm.
What do you think about that, Heather?
I agree. I mean, I think people.
Oh
should be
my
treated-
God.
Shut the.
No.
Just kidding, just kidding.
She agreed with me. I'm
No,
scared of
I
shit.
think everybody should be treated on who they are, their character, and you know how they act instead of what they do.
Right.
I think the problem is, especially in entrepreneurship, when you get to a certain level, who you are gets clouded by what you do because you let your ego now affect everything. And I think that that's a huge issue in entrepreneurship. And I think that that's super frustrating. I think that gives us as entrepreneurs a bad name because I think a lot of people they lack humility when they hit a certain level of success, and they forget that we are all just people at the end of the day. Like Faber always says, like we're all running the same race. We just start different places, and like I can't stand when people refuse to see that anymore. So yeah.
Oh my God.
It's
This
weird.
girl is
We're
a
gonna have to
beast,
just take
bro.
that
No,
For real.
stop.
Yeah.
Hit that button for the applause.
Yeah, there you
I don't
go.
even-
The
Oh, I can't
The
turn it off.
face you
It just keeps
made
going.
was worth more than the words you just said when you said that. It was such a slick, like GQ face when you said it. I was like, yeah, right.
He knew what he was doing.
There's his mic, man.
That was fire. That was definitely
Say it
fire.
again.
Oh Lord, I don't fucking remember.
You can tell.
Play
we've
it
all
back.
been
I had the same. I
having
had the
a busy
same
Play
day.
it
this
back.
weekend. No, but I always feel like it's weird how they make people feel like the road of entrepreneurship is. It's like at the beginning we fake it till we make it kind of shit, right? So it's like at the beginning we're all faking something, right? I'm trying to do this, right? I wore 3-piece suits all the time, right? Because I had to fit in because that's what you did,
I've seen the pictures.
right?
Yeah.
I look good though. Anyway,
We'll get Ariana's opinion after this.
I swear they used one of my pictures for the month of February. No, because it was love. No, but
It's the shortest up.
Eric G reads in the house. What's up, brother? But
What up?
he's a marketing genius, by the way. But so first we like fake it till we make it, right? Try to act like we're something rather than
Yes.
just say we're on the road to become it,
Did it.
right? And we're taking pictures with other people's cars, right? And we're like renting their place for $100 for an hour or something just to take as many videos and say, you want what I have? Go get $100 and rent it from your friend. No, but they didn't say that part. They said buy this thing from me, and they sold a whole bunch of money and they became a millionaire from it. So that's good for them, right? But kind of. And then you go to the phase
That's
where
not
you're
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
scammy.
yeah,
That's
Right.
scammy.
Right.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
The and then there's that phase when you're like, I got this, right? And you're like, I'm cool. And then the part you were talking about that scares the shit out of me is when it's almost like they feel like they got to prove they're it now, like by not what I do, but what I have.
Right.
And I don't want that phase
Oh man.
because I feel like then I would lose me, right? Because I'm not about that shit.
And
Yeah,
it's not
so-
even about like what you have, it's how your mindset changes and how
Right.
you feel like you're better than everybody.
Right.
Do you see me on my jet?
Right. But yeah,
Ooh,
that
not
can
even
be
that.
translated through the things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not even that. And I told this story before about our event in 2019. That speaker that came up when I said, the audio guy's in the back and I'm in the front. And he goes, "Oh, so you're just a pretty face." At what point in your career as a speaker did you think that you were such hot shit that you could say to the event planner, "Oh, so you're just a pretty face. You don't
Oh.
really know where I'm supposed to go."
Can we say timeout though?
Wow. Because I'd have been like, I'm a badass with
Can
a
we-
pretty
can we
face.
say
No, what I
timeout,
did
though?
was you never speaking at nothing ever again.
Right.
Right.
No, but can you see what you did there? You said as a speaker. No, that was as a person.
Or as a
Right,
person,
yeah.
right?
Right. That
right.
was bigger.
At what
because
point
it's
did you
not
think-
because he was a speaker. I don't give a fuck if you're an attendee.
Right.
Right. Like who the hell are you saying
Exactly.
that shit here?
Right.
Mm.
Right. Like it's like that's one of the things that I don't like that we're doing in society now is like we're labeling people with an identity of their job, saying that's
Right.
the reason why they did it, or what gave you the right being this, doing that. And it's like, no, as a person,
Right.
what made you think that was a good move?
Right.
If you are listening to this and any of this sounds familiar to you, remember that on your way up, you must be kind to those people because on the way down, you might run into them
Yeah.
again.
Right.
Okay,
Or
because you will be on your way
Yeah.
down.
Oh,
You're gonna burn a
100%.
lot of bridges
100%.
when you're at the top, and guess
Right.
what? When
Oh,
you
oh,
burn
that's-
those bridges, you're gonna fall right to
Right.
the bottom.
That speaker reached back out to us.
Oh,
Now that we're
the-
popular,
we'll
guess,
get right on that.
right.
guess who got on the Zoom to tell them no?
Like,
Me.
and the thing is too, it's like not even on your way down. Like you might be still on your way up and need that person.
100%.
Right.
Right.
Like it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
even if I stumble, it's oh shit, I just want to do this and this helps me do it. And there's no, like, if you're a speaker, let's go into profession. If you are a speaker and you're talking to someone that's involved in events, what?
It's probably not the person you want to piss off.
It might be the third person I speak the nicest to on earth, right? My mom and my daughter are one too. They're still mean to me, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. But Eric G. Reed said, it's about, I don't want debt and stress. That's why he's an entrepreneur. I don't want debt or stress. Right. And I'm like,
That's why he's not or is.
Right?
Which one was it?
I was gonna say it could go either way.
Yeah, I was about to say.
What was it?
I don't want debt and stress.
And that's why he is not an entrepreneur.
No, that's why he is.
Okay. Interesting.
So
I have both.
Right.
And I'm an entrepreneur. What do you mean?
I think the type maybe.
Yeah. No, listen.
Maybe.
There,
I get
yeah.
it.
I think it's
You could do it both ways.
stresses. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
different stresses.
What month is it? Hold on.
It's-
Next
you know-
month, I'm going to have no stress and no debt.
April
there's
15th. Yeah.
There's an argument I have. It's International Women's Day, so I'll drop my aunt. There's an argument I have with my aunt. I'll drop my aunt. My left hook.
International
No,
Women's Day. Let me
um,
talk about this argument I
right.
have. With
There's a
women.
debate. Because she goes, it's so unsafe. Like, how do you like be an entrepreneur and like having to go get your money and like making sure people pay? And I'm like, how crazy is it that you give 40 plus hours and hope some dude you never met sends you a check? Like, to me, that's nuts, right? Like, and she's like, so it's just a different perspective of where we are. She thinks it's crazy going and fighting for your own. I think it's crazy believing that I'm going to help this person build their dream and they're going to pay me.
I
Right.
couldn't imagine going back to corporate.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been so many years. It would
Mhm.
be odd.
Yeah.
Or not even. Remember, we were watching Fire Festival the documentary,
Oh yeah.
and he just jumps on the call and he goes, I'm not going to fire you, but I'm not going to pay you anymore. And what you've already done, I'm not paying you for that.
So speaking of
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm robbing you and your house. Like, you're going to pay me some way.
I had to
Yeah.
rewind it.
Yeah, you're
was
going
like,
to
hold
pay
on,
me
play
some
that
way or
back.
another. All that work.
so
I need
speaking
to remember this
con
line.
men,
Right.
I just watched the documentary of Inventing Anna. She
Mm.
actually was staying with the Billy guy from the
Mhm.
Fire Festival.
Oh really?
That
Billy
was-
McFarland?
At a port.
Oh, just like me.
Michael
that his last name?
Faber. Just kidding.
Bobby
like-
said he reminds me of me.
I never ever said that. I don't know what's happening.
This
He's
is the
messing
second
with
time you
you.
brought that up. We're gonna just ignore that because I don't believe it. But she stayed with him for like a little bit. But this girl went to New York, broke, right, and convinced high rich New York society that she was this German heiress, and what she was an immigrant from Russia, to the point
wow.
where she got banks she got this close to get banks to give her $40 million
Wow.
to do this big it was that Anna Delvey Foundation, and she wanted to do this rich society, and she was in with all these big time rich people. Talk about like scammy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just watched a documentary on
He
it.
said
Shit.
scammy-ish. No, that's scam.
Yeah. So on
Right.
National Women's Day, take that, Frank Abagnale, the
Right.
guy
Like-
from Go Catch Me If You Can.
But it's crazy. They really believed that this woman, and she ended up going to prison,
Right.
Mm.
because she did get some money. It wasn't the 40 million, but
That's wild.
she scammed people out of a lot of money and convinced them that she was this heiress of
That's
millions
wild.
of
Mm.
dollars.
Right?
I want to go back. Oh, go ahead. You got
Eric,
some
he
comments to
said,
read?
I control my income and who I work with. And Sharice said there's different types of debt and different types of stress.
Oh yeah, 100%. I wanted to go back to what you were saying though, like this idea that there is a safe that's not safe. I mean,
Right.
people have been fired from their safe 9 to 5 and
Mhm.
were forced into a world of entrepreneurship
or another
or
safe
another
9 to
safe
5.
9 to 5, you know? And so you look too excited. I'll go ahead and let you
No,
go.
I'm sorry.
He's
We-
getting ready to
Well,
burst.
no. We have someone close to us that takes that argument, but also has had to,
I know. Oh,
relocate to
well,
another
listen,
safe
when you're
9 to
stuck
5.
of that opinion,
Right.
you know.
No, I'm thinking about the Internship, the movie, the comedy.
Mhm.
Yes.
The Internship.
It's been a while. But
Google, right?
And yeah.
Yeah.
And
love that
they go,
movie.
the beginning of the movie is them going to sell the watches to that guy. And the guy that they're selling the watches to goes, your company didn't tell you they closed? And they drive back and they're like, you sent us out to sell the watches knowing we closed? He goes, you knew he wasn't going to buy the watch. No one buy watches anymore. They got it on their phone. Right. But it's like, I'm like, that's working for somebody.
Right.
Like that literally happens. You're working for someone, your company closes, and you're like, what? Like we made fun of the fire festival moment. That's a real company.
That's
Right.
legit.
Right.
Yeah.
They were just like, we're not going to fire you and we're not going to pay
Right.
you.
There's literally hundreds
Like-
on top of hundreds of examples of this. Like
Yeah.
it's not
Oh, yeah.
an imagination. We're
Right.
you know,
But
it's,
this is something we're programmed, and I'm guilty of it too sometimes with going to nursing school. And I have my parents who there's no like malicious intent from it. That's how they were raised. You work hard, you get a job, you stay at that job. My dad's been at the same job 30 plus years. He could freaking hate it for all he knows, but he's going to stay there and work hard because that's what you do. I just re-upped my nursing license because I heard my mom in the back of my head say, well, you have it to fall back on. Like if you need it, you know what I mean? And so I did. And after I, of course, paid the fee that you have to be a nurse, I was like, shit. I mean, yes, I want it, because I love nursing, but I don't need it. And in my head, I'm find that programming like, oh, I need this just in case.
Yeah, I don't know if I kind of disagree. I think that it was important for you to renew it. You worked so hard to get it. If
Yeah.
you just have to pay a fee to
Yeah.
keep it, why not do it just to have it? Not to fall back on,
Right.
but girl, you worked hard to have
Yeah.
it. Like I would pay to keep that piece of paper and I'd be
Right.
showing it to everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? In this world of entrepreneurship, you're going to make 10 times that. Who cares
Sure.
if you got to spend the money on the fee to keep the piece of paper?
Sure. And I completely agree with you, but that wasn't what was going through
Yeah,
my mind
yeah, for
when
sure.
I did it. I was like, oh my God, I have to make sure that I don't let this expire because
yeah.
I need this to fall back on. And that's like nothing wrong with that, but also something wrong with that.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the pursuit and what you
Right.
want, right? So if
Right.
you want something and you say you want it, we talked about this weekend too, is like there's a desire of want, right? Like how
Mhm.
bad do you want something? Because everybody
Right.
wants to be fit and skinny,
Sure.
right? And healthy.
Sure.
But do we want
Do
it
we
bad
want it
enough to
bad
go to
enough?
the gym and diet? No,
Right.
not
I know.
not most of us anyway. But
Right.
I kind of
so-
want Chick-fil-A.
That
right.
sounds
Well,
so good.
so
Said that to every food. I don't know. Pizza, good. This good. Steak, yes.
Well, because
Chick-fil-A,
I had
yes.
Nothing wrong with
Yesterday-
Wawa. I love Wawa, but I had
Yesterday,
Wawa
I
soup.
air
Anything sounds
ate
better than that
Chick-fil-A
right
because
now.
they never delivered it. I do want to say Mary's in the house. What's up? She said,
Hey,
love the
Mary.
internship.
what up? What up?
Such a good movie.
So did Therese. Great movie. Then Melissa said, but don't we need those that are okay with being workers? Not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur.
So
Agreed.
that's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah,
Again,
agreed.
this is about picking your hard, right?
Right.
Like we know that entrepreneurship is hard. We also know that we want the benefits of entrepreneurship. So we take on that hard. And if you want the security or what you look at as security of being employed by someone else, then you also understand that's going to come with hard components too and risk, just like entrepreneurship. So this is about our own pursuit. And if
Mhm.
that's what you want, 100% have that. But don't get into that space and then tell other people they have to do the same, right? I think we have to
Ooh.
remember to encourage others to take their own journey.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that to me is the separator, right?
Right. So there's things that are like, so this is where I get into the conversation. It gets a little murky for me, and people think I have like an enemy of workers. Right. And it's a couple, and Hudson actually walked into it for me. He said there's nothing wrong with someone making sure they have a stable income. That is bothersome to me
Yeah,
because
I
that's
like that.
programming
Right.
to think that if I work for someone, that's a stable income.
Correct.
That's programming.
Yes.
Right? It's programming to think, hey, work 20 to 65,
It's
And-
comfortability.
and then you'll get the picket fence. And we don't tell you that means the average person lives 11 more years. So, and there's people that die before it. So that's on average, you're going to get 11 years of your so-called freedom living on your fixed income that you hope covers your bills, because as it's being built up, doesn't take in place inflation and things of that. And they're not like, well, when you retire, it's going to be this number, so we'll give you more, right? Like those things aren't happening. So I think our system has taught us, what did our system want? Our system wanted employees.
Employees.
Mm.
Yeah, they
100%.
didn't want people out there creating shit and making shit.
It was originally designed specifically to staff out other companies.
100%. And why? Because when it was created, that's what we needed.
Yeah.
We needed people in the industry fields, in the mines. We needed people that had to go work to get these things that we needed to be able to build what we wanted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. So why not make it like that was the thing to do? You can have a stable income a million ways.
Yeah.
A million ways.
100%.
Right. Like you can have a stable income with a rental. Right.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
can
Mhm.
having a business, working for someone. You can have a stable income a million ways. There's not one.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
think it's no, you're good. You're absolutely right.
That shit fires me up.
And this is just like, I think me.
Don't do
That was
again,
weird.
please.
That was weird. Yeah, that was weird when I did it. It didn't quite go as I thought it would.
Yeah.
So I'll stop
It's
that.
not a shake weight, sir.
It's soft though. That's
It's just
It hit my
take a moment for that.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Moment of
No, I
silence.
think no, I honestly like there's nothing wrong with having a stable income. No, absolutely not. But I think the difference is comfortability. Because if you have to be an entrepreneur, it falls on your shoulders.
mm-hmm.
You can make
Right.
1,000 excuses
Mm-hmm.
when you work for somebody else.
Right.
And I think that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, if you don't find that money,
Mhm.
you don't pay your bills.
Right.
Right.
You're comfortable working a
Right.
9 to 5, clocking in, clocking out.
Right.
And if they fire you, lay you off, it's not your fault.
Right.
If we don't pay our bills, it's our fault because
Right.
we didn't hustle enough to make the
Right.
money to pay them.
Right.
Right.
If you
So-
didn't make the calls, it comes back to you.
Exactly.
Right.
Which can
If
be
you didn't
fucking
knock on the
scary. I
doors,
agree.
If you didn't send the emails.
Yeah, now there's nothing
If
wrong with
it's to
having
be, it's up to me.
Yeah, no, there's
Right.
nothing wrong with having a corporate
Okay.
job. But that comment I get your frustration because I'm like, what do you mean stable? Like,
Yeah.
come on. No, I
Mhm.
feel
Why
like
is
And we're
so
not
many-
attacking
why do
you,
so many
Hudson.
people? Why
No,
do so
we're not
many-
attacking
No,
you.
I'm,
no,
yeah,
I'm
promoting that
sorry.
thought.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I
Hudson's
can be
my boy.
opinionated.
No, you're
The-
okay.
No,
the-
I shouldn't be.
If it was,
No,
if
no.
that's so called stable, why do so many people living check to check?
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Right? Is that stable? Like, what do you consider stable? Then I think we have to define that. Is that
Yeah.
well, check to check? At least I know something will be there on Friday. I'm like, shit. Is
But
that
you're
life?
miserable
Do
because
you
you're
know?
not
Do you
making
guys
the
know?
bills.
Like, so we went through a finance sales training recently at
Mm-hmm.
Brightside, and they told us that the average household has $1,200 in the checking account and available to them in liquid form at any time. The average is $1,200 available, and there's tons of other numbers that would scare the shit out of you guys.
Right.
And by the way, these are your 9 to 5. These are the people that you think are doing well,
Right.
and their house is nice, and they have a
Mhm.
good car. And meanwhile, to Mike's point, they're living check to check. And man, if that check doesn't come, what can you do about it, right? And that's the difference. And again, 100%. You know that risk, or at least you should know that risk by going down that road. And if you accept that risk and you're still comfortable pursuing that, then by all means do that.
Mhm.
This is self-awareness, right? This
Right.
is, what do you want as an individual? There is no one solution fits all
Mhm.
in this world, but
Mhm.
understand the risks both ways.
Mhm.
Like we said earlier, picking your hard, you must know that on the other side of that cushy 9 to 5 that you have, somebody somewhere could make a bad decision. It could all be going tomorrow.
Right.
Right.
Also, let's take this one step further. Since all the things we know about, COVID hits, right? 08 hits, right? Like we've seen moments where it's
Multiple times.
like, oh shit, right? And that's both in our entrepreneur or side hustle journey. Like in our
Yeah.
lifetimes, these things have both happened,
Yeah.
right? So, how many businesses closed? Right? Think about COVID. Small businesses and entrepreneurship owned businesses, not even just startups, right? Like that actually qualify in the.
Can I give you a number for that real quick?
Yeah.
So I had a conversation with the local chamber,
Mhm.
and they said they lost 85 members through quarantine. 65 of them were closed businesses.
Right.
Wow.
Dude, in 6 months, just in the United States alone, over 1 million small businesses closed. Over 1 million. Within the year, over 2 million. Right? Like, wow. There was employees of those businesses too.
Right.
It wasn't just owners.
Right.
There's an owner or two owners.
Right.
Right. There's more employees typically.
Right.
Right. So we all seen how quick this can all. I think if you only have one stream, you do not have anything stable.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a string attached
Right.
to your life.
Yep.
Right.
And that string can go at any moment for any of the 9,000 reasons that are going on around us.
Yes.
So it's like if you don't have multiple streams, you are not stable.
Correct.
You are one thing away from having nothing. And
Right.
that scares me.
Hell yeah.
Well,
Right.
don't you think it also kind of contradicts itself with that argument that people have is I don't want to be an entrepreneur because of the risk of, my business failing or my business closing, but then I'm going to go work for an entrepreneur where they have the risk that their business could struggle and
Crazy.
fail.
Crazy.
Like-
but they think it's proven in this situation versus the one that I'm going to go
You
do.
kind of contradict that is I don't want to be that because of the risk. So I'm going to go work for
that
another
guy.
person and hope that they don't have that risk.
That's so wild.
funny.
Yeah, that's so
Eric-
good,
Eric
Margaret.
G. Reed said, "Truth is, you can't have a stable income. You can have more or less control over the income.
Right.
Ooh, good
All
point. I like
Right.
that.
You can have stable income if you diversify your revenue." Cherie says.
Hmm.
All right. Melissa says maybe also talk about the difference. I don't know why maybe, but also talk about the difference between business owner versus self-employed. Are they both entrepreneurs? It matters how you define the word entrepreneur. Some people think neither of them can be entrepreneurs. Originally, at one point, the idea of an entrepreneur was build a business to sell.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then you're an entrepreneur, right? So it matters how you define the word entrepreneur. I think you
Mhm.
mean, are you self-employed? So are you in or on your business? And if we're all being honest, we've all been both,
Yes.
Mhm.
right? Like I think that you start in and
Yeah.
work your way on, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's only because we grow and understand better,
100%.
right? At one time we're everything. Right? I'm stitching shirts in the back. Like, hold on, guys, it'll be beautiful. Right? We got an embroidery machine. I close the
Has he
door.
ever stitched a shirt before?
I close the door.
No, but I have.
Yeah, I close the door and turn on like
He probably
an
did.
iron or something so it makes noise, and I'm like, we're embroidering
Right.
things, guys.
And it's
But-
funny actually that you
Irons
said
don't
that.
make noise.
I
And,
know.
and now I know you've never used an iron.
No,
You
the
definitely know I
part
don't
where
use
you do
iron.
the little
The steel.
spray. Yeah. It's funny actually that you said that because when I'm used to hearing him talk about everything where he says you're in your business or you're on you're
Working on your business.
working on your business. I always thought even from an event planning aspect I would always have to be in everything because of the nature of the events. But then even this weekend I may be advising people, but people are now doing my job. It was just very interesting for me to experience that. And at one point, something got delivered and I was like, I need to control this and do this. And people are like, well, we already know what you want us to do. Let us do it. And I was like, oh shit, I don't have to do everything. It's kind of hard
Yeah.
to
But
be
wasn't
in
there-
a business or on a business and not, you have that risk too.
Yeah, but wasn't there like so much pride in the idea of knowing that the planning that you put in place allowed someone else to execute?
For sure.
You know what I mean? And that to me was something big on my journey, was that idea of like, I was so afraid to let go of little things. And then once I let go of those little things, the feedback I'd get from both the customer and the team member, they were like, yeah, I did exactly what you said and crushed it. And then the feedback from the customer is like, oh my God, he was amazing. Thank you so much
Right.
for sending him. I'm like,
Right.
shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Like-
I'm on to something. Let me send
Yeah,
more
yeah.
people.
That's also scary too.
It can be.
putting that in.
It can be, but the idea is like, look, and at least again, I'm going to say this because this is my opinion. Nobody's ever going to care as much as you care about your business,
Sure.
right? And
Oh, sure,
nobody's, nobody's ever going to do everything as well as you do in your business either. But if you can get them as 80% as good, right? If you can get them 80% as good as you are, like, why not just let go of the reins, let them, because the other 20% is going to be their twist on it in the first place, right? Which might even improve on the original idea.
I would even say more than the 80%, depending on what, like, no offense to Michael, but him getting video and pictures, no way.
If somebody can do it 20% better.
Then
You guys saw
we're
some of the
working with
graphics I made
him.
earlier. I shouldn't be
Like
doing it.
Ev is a huge asset.
God, it was horrible.
100%. Shout out to Ev. Miss you this week, buddy.
Shout out to Ev.
Shout out Ev.
I hope you can hear us.
Yeah. Hi, Ev.
You didn't get it.
Shut the
So I have to read. Sasha's been writing this to make sure I read it. Because he's sending it. I'm like, I think he really wants this said.
Yes.
The difference
say it.
between 9 to 5
We got you,
entrepreneurship
Sasha.
is someone else decides your value. Both are risky, both are unstable. The only difference between being a 9 to 5 employee and an entrepreneur is someone else decides your value. The risk uncertainty is pretty much the same.
Risk uncertainty.
Just saying.
I like that. I wanted to go back to something that you said too about, because you were talking about how like all those businesses closed,
Mhm.
but shit, every day there are businesses that are downsizing and laying
Mhm.
off 35 and 45 people.
Sure.
And for those of you who haven't experienced that close to you, it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're not just making this shit up. It's actually happening out there.
He
And
said 35 to 45 people. 35
no,
45
percent, excuse me.
percent.
That's
yeah,
what I
it's
meant.
like, Jesus, we can even get bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Like that. The idea of it's safe out there because there's some other company in front of me is not. They'll cut you faster than you would cut yourself. Who would fire you faster? A stranger at a business or yourself?
Right. And also in a world
Probably
full of
myself. Never mind. No, I'm kidding.
in a world full of like automation and outsourcing and what's happening via tech right now, like if you think your job is safe and you have stability in it, my man, think about how far off you are from being replaced by some kind of technology, and then come back and talk to me, because that's something to be considered at all levels. 100%.
I actually said, someone's like, if you were back in the day and you didn't want to open a business, you wanted to get a job, what would you do? I said, I would be the guy that fixed all the machines that are replacing the people, because that's who's going to be hired.
Yep.
Because everyone is looking for ways to get rid of people. Right.
Yeah.
You see it everywhere. Wawa has self-checkout stops now.
Oh, yeah.
Walmart has every supermarket, Red Nurse has it.
Right.
Like not even just big ones anymore, even smaller chains.
Royal Farms.
I'll
yeah.
even co-sign that, even, and this is, someone who went through the medical field thinking no one can replace anybody in the medical field. They have, and this is in some of the larger cities and major hospitals that have, tons of money and funding. They've replaced some people in the CPR team with CPR machines now. Some people don't even have to pump on your chest anymore. They have machines to do that. That's crazy.
The machine looks like just a
Like,
No,
to
it doesn't
me-
look like that.
to
I
me
know
as
it doesn't look like that.
But to me, as a nurse, like a nurse had to get cut from that team
Right.
that you
Right.
never thought would.
It's like the
Even in the
Exactly.
medical
CPR
field.
sock pop
I mean,
robot.
now we're a little further away from for other things, but you never know.
But are we? Because I don't think we are. I
Right.
mean, look, think about it from this point of view, right? You can literally ask your Alexa or Siri anything, right?
Yeah.
Yet in court, there are very high profile people hiring an attorney who she is counting on the fact that her paralegal did enough research to have enough case law to have it available at the time in court when the certain thing was discussed.
Yeah.
At some point, there's going to be AI that says, oh no, this case law back in 1982 supports this
Right.
conversation, right? At some point, there's so much that's happening. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I
Yeah.
don't think any of us outside of the medical field would have
It's
even known
crazy.
those
People say
technology.
that like this is the field that cannot be replaced, which shit's starting to replace in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. Just, I would say,
Freaky.
think about it, because there are computers, there are programs, there are machines that are definitely coming for a lot of jobs in the future.
Sock Baba robots went out of business, so they made them into CPR machines.
Yo, he's
I
been
was-
working on that joke for
No, I
48
was-
seconds.
Yeah.
I was holding it. I was like, this is a good
You've
one.
done CPR before, so
Uh-huh.
you're not worried about their ribs. I mean, you're going and trying
Oh,
to bring
yeah,
them
yeah.
back to
I'm
life.
more
That's why I
worried-
did that. Like,
No,
you're
I'm
going
more,
in.
I'm more worried about someone throwing it in my mouth. That's what happened.
Huh?
Yeah, it was rough.
I
But
don't wanna
that's
go down that
crazy, right?
conversation.
Like, you could go to a major hospital and you wake up and you're like, who saved my life? Oh,
Machine.
CPR X 1000 did.
R2D2.
Let him walk in.
Which
That
You
was
know.
my robot turn.
is crazy.
What movie was it where a dude's son controlled a robot and it would fight another robot? Thank you. And see, goddamn,
Is that why you called him Quentin Tarantino?
I told you. Quarantino.
Quarantino.
In the middle of the call last week, he calls him
Quarantino.
Quarantino.
Trying to figure out dude's name. What's
Yeah.
the guy's name?
Quarantino.
Quentin
Quantrell.
Contract.
No, not
No,
his.
the-
The guy I was
Quentin
trying to
Tarantino.
Quentin
Quentin
Tarantino.
Tarantino. Okay.
So just so you know how
It was
bad
a
I
good
butchered his
cover-up.
name, right? I was like, oh shit, right? But see, he comes in clutch like that. But we took those robots and made them into the CPR robots. Technology's grand.
I mean, and even so, like, we've seen surgery done
Mhm.
already with robots.
with robots. Yeah,
Right?
agreed.
So
that would take 8 people taking one person with their
yeah. So
instrument.
while you
Machine.
think your cushy job is going to be
Crazy.
there, bro, you might want to rethink that, is all I'm saying. plan for it. And again, I'm not opposed to you continuing to do your 9 to 5,
Oh,
but
no,
just
definitely not.
get
If
those.
you love it, you love it.
Yeah, I mean, get those other streams of income in.
So, Bobby, I have a question for you. 'Cause
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't want you to be able to escape without saying this now.
Okay.
No.
So you recently did something that made you a true entrepreneur. About time. It only took years.
What?
How did he do?
What did he do?
Right? What did he do? Great question.
I had an entree.
No, you
Like a
watched.
meal?
You watched The Greatest Showman.
Oh,
my
The Greatest Showman. I love
Dork.
that movie.
I don't understand how he hasn't
Can we-
seen it.
Thank you. First of all, time out. This just made you know I was a dork. Come on. And
No,
When
it was
people
weird that
signed
you
up
took
for our
me serious.
mastermind, if they hadn't watched it, he wouldn't do a coaching call with them until they did.
Jesus. No, to
He
your
doesn't
point,
say
hold
that
on.
anymore because I'm like, you really can't do that.
I got to
But
defend her though, because she probably did put this on for me. And as soon as I realized it was a musical, I was like, I'm out.
oh, I hate
Which is
musicals. But
really
this was dope.
odd
I love all
because
those
he
songs.
Dude,
loves.
I have the soundtrack on my
We're
phone.
gonna rewrite the stars.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
shouldn't
God.
sing, but
Yeah, that was rough.
I
The
don't get
song
it.
was good.
He he says that, but he definitely likes musical type movies. Like one of his favorite movies. It's not a musical, but one of his favorite movies is Pitch Perfect.
oh,
Like,
you're singing
and he's-
90% of the movie. I feel like
I fucking love Pitch Perfect. It's not just one of my favorite movies. Okay,
it is.
I
his
love
favorite
all
movie.
3 of those
No,
movies.
all
when
right, so
Sing,
time out.
the
His
You
first,
can't-
animated
second, and
movie
Yeah,
third
came
you're
out-
movie.
right now.
When Sing came out, the animated movie, he was like, I gotta see this.
Yeah, no, but you're right.
Let's get going.
If you're like Pitch Perfect and Sing are dope, but musicals suck. Like, no, you're a
No,
liar.
Fuck
he's a
Greatest
liar.
Showman.
Right. I don't think those things could exist. But
I mean, like, I can go like Grease. You like
Oh,
Grease?
yeah.
okay, that's not fair. Grease is a classic, and everybody grew up watching
a
it.
Total like
Every
musical.
song.
It
Pitch
is a
Perfect, 1, 2,
musical,
3 is,
but I like
Sing
it was.
is.
I was conditioned to like
let's
Grease.
think
Not
of a-
Pitch
let's
Perfect.
think of another musical.
Exactly. See,
Oh, there's lots.
There's
I
lots.
know
You
there's
just
lots.
don't think
The
about
only
it.
one
saying-
you don't like is High School Musical. That's the one you don't like.
I fuck with High
Nope.
School Musical.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
not
I
that
don't
one.
really
Yeah,
care for
that-
that one.
When I was a
That's
kid, that was
but that
the
is
jam.
weird that Zac Efron's in both of those movies that we were
Oh,
referencing.
you know what? He is.
He is.
Yeah.
And
No,
he
but-
knows Zac Efron's in the movie. I
Yeah.
think he low-key likes.
I have daughters, fool. Did you know that?
I don't know what that means to that, but all right.
I think he likes it. I have daughters.
I was like, to the person that had them.
Musical.
To the person that had the daughters.
likes
That's why he
said,
was boycotting it.
Okay, but I like. All right, so I like Disney movies, and they have a lot of songs.
Oh, he loves Disney movies. He
Fucking
loves
right.
Aladdin,
Aladdin?
is
Are
his
you
favorite
kidding me?
Disney
A
movie.
whole new world.
Sasha said she was in
A
High School
musical?
Musical.
What?
Wait a minute. What?
What?
And then Sharice called you out a little bit.
Sasha, I
she
just
said,
became your best fan.
She said suddenly he goes from saying I don't like musicals to loving everyone.
Every
mentioned.
single one.
See?
Every single one. Even Little Mermaid.
I mean, I don't really like Grease. I just know it.
Aladdin's the best. I don't like musicals.
No, but how
I don't
hard
like
did the
High
part
School
go
Musical.
when they
If we can
leave?
bring up one you don't like, it means you like an awful.
That,
one.
I don't know any more than that.
You know enough
you
to
like-
like them.
So you like all but one that you know of.
Oof.
Anyway, Margaret.
The part where they're at the fancy dinner and they leave and they're singing about how they're them and people need, you know.
She has Zac
they accept-
Efron's autograph to prove it.
Wow.
What?
I'm shook.
Was she in like the lunch scene?
You have to. You
Yeah,
come-
were
have
you
to
one of
come
the
to
dancers?
I don't
studio
know if
now
that
and talk about
necessarily
it.
proves it.
Like the
but-
cafeteria scene?
Also, which High School Musical? There's a couple. So
Well, she has Zach's autograph, so it's one season.
Yeah, but that was
Okay.
like before he was.
Is he
cute.
really?
I think
he
it
was
he's
very
like-
little
he's
boy.
like-
Was he
cute then.
really?
Wait, what were you just talking about
He
when
was
they
in
were
all
at the
three?
restaurant?
Or no, when they were at their
Yeah.
In
they
The
had-
Greatest Showman?
Yeah, they were at the
Holy
opera
shit.
thing.
Yeah.
How long was he in high school
and then
for?
they
Let me
want to come
mute them
in.
real
8
quick.
years?
They want to come in and do the toast, and he's like, no,
Like me.
pushing them out. Like he was embarrassed by
I don't
them.
know that
You
one.
don't know? Did you watch the movie?
Oh, when the
That's
rest
the
of
best song right
Oh,
after that.
the rest of his team you're talking about?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about when Zach and Zendaya
No,
were
no,
walking
no. Oh,
into the
I mean,
opera.
I got you.
Yeah.
Watch
I got
it,
you.
like, on the
Yeah.
show.
No, but that was a pivotal moment.
I've never walked
Yo, hold
in
on.
on him watching Frozen.
Oh, I turned him down. I think I did.
His mic's not on.
He's
Yo,
turning
uh,
our mics down.
It's
He's
fine.
turning her mic
Because
down.
we
He's
were
upset.
having a
He's
conversation.
upset
We're
about it.
confusing the shit out
We
of the
were
phone.
having a conversation.
Listen, I was getting him to divulge on the parts of
The
the Greatest,
The Greatest
Showman.
Showman. I fuck with it.
What
It's
was your
dope. I watched it
favorite
on the
moment?
plane.
Especially coming from the entrepreneur eyes.
honestly, only because of relevancy, the partnership at the end.
Mm.
So, I see what you did there. Are you saying I started a fire and burned down the place? No, I'm kidding.
That was after the fire.
Right. So you're saying I did it before? No. I'm kidding. So Sasha said she's going to come here to the office, put the movie on the TV, show you the screen she's in, and the autograph and the pay stubs.
Just post the
I'm
screenshot.
gonna-
What are you
Sasha,
doing?
I'm gonna message you. I need
a
to
lot of
know
work.
what part you were in.
We're doing this serious, and we're not doing it. Damn it!
Wildcats.
I thought
Oh, I love that.
that's
But
dope.
no,
That's
Greatest
dope.
Showman, like from the start, like when he was that kid, and it was like they were less fortunate, they were poor, right? Dad was hardworking but tough, right? Like he didn't have it very nice,
Yeah.
right? Then losing his pops young, not having his mom in the picture,
Mhm.
right? To then leveraging things that weren't even his or real, for
Yeah.
the bank to give him money, which I loved.
That was
Right?
dope.
That's a
Yeah,
hustler
that was
mindset
dope.
right there. He found a way.
The ships in the
See?
China Sea,
See, we do have them. They're in the sea at the
They're
bottom of it.
they're deep.
Right.
deep
But it's
in the
like
sea.
just the phases that it went through. It's like it really shows you entrepreneurship in a way.
Right.
Yeah. Did he buy those ships or did he just find the deed?
I think he took the deeds just out of where he worked.
I mean, how hard would it have been to buy them too, though, right?
I mean, remember,
Hey, can I buy those?
Yeah,
and
here's a
then I get the
coin.
deed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
And
better now.
it was interesting because it showed that part of the entrepreneurial.
you never seen it?
You haven't seen it?
Turn the
Look,
camera
I
off.
understand,
Oh my
bro.
God.
Nah, fuck that. I
That-
understand.
see?
I
Because he
just watched
said
it for
no,
the first
turned
time.
off the screen because he said that. That happened. That's a
It's been a
sign.
while. I've seen it. It was a great movie. It's just
It-
been
it
a while
is.
since I saw
I
I'm
it.
not a
think that-
fan of musicals, so I understand why I
It
would have
feels
never
like
made
you
it into
keep
that.
hate
saying
musicals.
that.
Bro, because
I
I
don't
know
like
you
And I
don't have
probably
blue
made me watch
eyes.
this. Well, I'm just saying, like Hugh Jackman, I think
don't
he's
know.
dope, so I
I
would
love
watch it.
him.
Yeah.
I love him.
I mean, it's
No,
not
I don't.
Wolverine, but I'll
Right.
watch it. Yeah.
Wait, you said what?
I'm saying, I like if it was any other movie, if you was like, oh, there's a movie with Hugh Jackman that I want to watch, I'd have probably watched the damn movie because he's pretty dope, or at least he was in Wolverine. And what was the other one? Swordfish.
Mm.
That was a dope movie.
I've never seen that.
Never
one.
seen
With
it.
John Travolta and Halle
Yeah.
Berry. Yes, you
Oh,
guys
yes,
have.
I've
Where he's the
seen that
hacker.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Oh no, I was
think he
thinking
just freaking
be cool.
Dude, he's the one that
He
hacked my
said, "Look,
Facebook and got me banned.
Oh my God, he came at you.
The
'cause you didn't see
Taliban.
the movie.
Prisoner.
The
Yeah.
TV show?
Yes.
I've never seen it.
The
Prison Break.
so I'm not a big like Hugh Jackson guy.
Hugh
Neither.
Jackson?
Like,
Did you say Hugh Jackson?
Hugh Jackson was
so-
the coach of the Browns.
Oh,
I'm not a
God.
big fan of his either.
Hugh
I don't think he's very good.
Jackson.
Well, he didn't have it fair. He was the coach of the Browns.
True.
Aw, I love
And-
the Browns. I always root
And
for them.
can I really? That's it's like loving pain. I love disappointment. Let me root
They're
for
not
the
my
Browns.
team. I
right?
always just root for them. Like
You're- That's
E-A-G-L.
weird because Brady never played for them.
I know.
Belichick
I
did.
just said they're not my.
Oh.
Belichick did.
So he did. He coached them. Yeah. It was roughly not so horrible for a coach of the Browns.
Oh,
but-
can we? Oh, go ahead. You want to go somewhere?
No, not really.
Okay, I was just gonna say,
I
how
was talking
about
about-
how about Aaron? I know this isn't a sports talk, but how about
Stop
Aaron
it.
Rodgers?
You just
How about
talked
Aaron Rodgers? $50 million a year,
Right.
200
Guaranteed
million.
153 of it.
And you know who never got that? Joe Montana. You know who has more MVPs? Joe Montana. And Peyton Manning.
more everything's,
Right.
more Super Bowls.
Yeah.
How about my man Russell? Love Russell just because of Sierra.
He's playing a mile high now. I don't know if I love that for him.
That was a dope move for Denver. I don't know
Yeah,
if it was a
great.
dope move for Russell. He
They
did
are-
look
they
a
need a lot
lot
of
better in
Yeah.
Eagles green. I know
Now,
that.
He
I will
would have
say the
been way
Denver
better on
receiving
the
corps could be
Eagles. I
tricky
love
good.
Sierra.
It would have cost us
Um,
everything, though.
So I'm not a big musical fan, but I did love The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
So it's not like I actually don't like a lot of musicals.
No, I fuck with it. The story I'm diving into outside of the movie a little
Mhm.
bit, and I'm learning more about that because I want
It's
to
tough.
understand that part of it.
It's tough.
Because then they partnered with the other place, the Ringling Brothers
Mhm.
or something like that at some point. And so I'm trying to understand that. And so I'm diving into it though. You
Mhm.
guys definitely
They're
sent
the
me down
ones
this
with
road.
The lions or the tigers.
And elephants.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I love the
F-Phillips.
part of the movie where, and it's super real for, I mean, I don't want to say all entrepreneurs, but most of them, is when he realizes like everything with his family that he's fucking up.
Mhm.
And I feel like diving into the entrepreneur journey, and you guys obviously with your girls can get a little into that, is have you ever had that moment during your journey of building your business where you're like, fuck, I'm neglecting my family right now?
or where you took your eye off the prize, like
Right.
that, that like what is it called? glitter effect. No, what is it called?
I know what you're talking about.
So
Shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
There we
yeah.
go.
So
Whew.
this is a crazy conversation because you're right. I do. Those are some of my favorite parts of that movie, especially when they're like on that rooftop
Yeah.
and they've got the sheets around them and he's just spinning that thing and
Yeah.
that was the birthday present and
Yeah.
she was
She
happy
was
as
so
shit,
happy.
right? And then at some other point when he's talking to her and he's like, I'm just trying to give what about the girls? And she's like, look around, they have everything they
Everything.
could ever want
Except for you.
already, except for you, right? And so yeah, there's been times, man. We talk about this often where with our first business, the one that was much more stressed than anything else, there were days I left the house before the girls were awake and I would come back home after. And I also want to give Heather credit too, because at that same time, right, she was out knocking on doors, door to door, trying to get our business growing through setting estimates. And so I don't want to look over that at all because that was a sacrifice for her late into the evenings. But also, going back to this, you pick your hard.
Yeah.
I worked 7 to 4 at Walmart. She worked 4 to 11 at Walmart.
Right.
Okay. We did a handoff with our kids at the time clock.
Right.
And I didn't see her until 11 o'clock that night. Right. And so we didn't see each other ever. So us working together on something, we had this common goal. That was so big in comparison to what we were again, it's about picking our hard, right? I'll let you answer the same question.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, it wasn't so black and white. I mean, we definitely
Sure.
had moments there where I think things got compartmentalized
Yes, they did.
very quickly because, when you come from nothing and you're trying to build something, you want to put every ounce of you into that.
Right.
And it's easy to get distracted
Sure.
away from everything else. And I think there were a lot of moments where, that came into play and the compartmentalization got so bad. Where
Stay close to the mic,
Oh.
Debbie. Sorry.
Sorry. Well, I don't want to be like him over here, like slobbering.
He has a
all
name.
that. But no, I
Thank
think
you.
it's like uncomfortable. I can't even look in this direction. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm just kidding. No, but I think there were times where the compartmentalization got it got quite bad where there was like we were so far away from where he was. And there were definite moments where it was like, hello.
Yeah, and we can do that easily because this admirable phrase of I'm trying to give my kids the life I never had, right? So, but the problem is I wasn't a part of that life, and there were times where she wasn't part of that life. So they might have had everything physically that they could want or need. Maybe not want, but definitely need. And but they didn't have me there or they didn't have her there. And so we had conversations about what we need in our relationship, and it changed things quite a bit. There's a lot to it. It's about communication big time. But
I just thought that was such a powerful part of the movie. There
was another part, and this is probably my most favorite part of this entire movie was a moment where in the movie Bailey, right, is questioning the risk that Barnum is taking, and he's saying to him, he's like you've leveraged everything. We have nothing to borrow against anymore, and if this doesn't work, we're going to lose everything. He said, I started without everything.
Oof. Ooh, that gave me chills. True.
Right? It's like, man, one of my favorite quotes, and I don't know if I came up with this, but my favorite saying is like, when you start from the bottom, there is very little fear of failure.
Right.
Because you're familiar with rock bottom. Know it's solid. It's there. You ain't gonna keep falling. It's gonna smack the shit out of you on your drop. But you're familiar with that. And oftentimes the people that have been there survived it. Right. And I talk about how poor we were in the very beginning and food stamps and Medicaid and all that stuff. Like we survived. In fact, if anything, we did good being broke too.
Yeah.
So we knew we could do that. We didn't know that we could succeed and change our life. So that was the unknown. That was the uncomfortable. And we pursued that.
Right.
All right. A couple of things. Cherie says all in or not at all. Hudson said also Willy Wonka is a great one. Melissa says even harder as a mom entrepreneur. Hashtag International Women's Day.
For sure.
And then Cherie said definitely it's an underdog advantage.
Who said that?
Cherise.
Thank you, Therese.
The
Dean Graciosi.
So where
Shout out.
where
He wrote the book.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Where I kind of go, this is my favorite scene, right? Like there's multiple ones in the movie where you're like, these are big, but is when it came crumbling down the first time ish, and he's sitting in the bar
Mm.
and his people go in, and
Yes.
they're kind of
Mhm.
like, it's hard love.
Hold on, you ain't gonna act like little man didn't crawl right on top
On
of the
the
bar
bar?
and walk
Right,
down it,
literally.
walk down it like it was the catwalk at the
Little
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
He did. It reminds me of something this week. Never mind. The he's done. He's done. He's like, he did.
Checking
I
my
did.
cable. Just checking my cable.
But it's that scene. It's like your people, even though you made a move that wasn't looking out for them necessarily, best interest, wasn't including them, and kind of did some shit where it's like, yo, dickhead, right? Knock it off. They were still there.
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
like the core people, the people that you start with, right?
Yes.
And that's not always the case.
Hell no.
Hell no, right? But there are some that's like, we're gonna be here regardless.
Whatever it takes.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And how wherever the roller coaster takes us, not everybody is, but on that roller coaster, this is why I think that needs to happen in life and in business,
Mhm.
is because you're gonna find your real.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're going to find your real. And that's huge for you because we all need our real.
Yeah.
Like we all need those people that are like, listen, I'm gonna tell you when you're fucking up, but I'm also gonna tell you by being there.
Right.
Not just, saying you're fucking and leaving because now whatever good for me is gone. And now that's what I was here for. And if I want it better, the problem is where we realize when things start getting better, or if people think they are,
That's when you make friends.
but also, yeah, people want more that are there. And then
Mm.
you're like, all right, I got you. Now I see what you're really in for. Right.
Mhm.
And now I can start separating a little bit. But then when those times come, and I know we've all been smacked by those times in life and in business, most of us, I would imagine. Those people are like angels at that moment because they're going to keep you from going into a spiral that you don't know if you come out of, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And they
Mhm.
keep you then pushing forward.
You know what I think super important in those situations is that real transparency with your team, right?
Mhm.
Like that
Mhm.
reality so that they understand where we are, because you get to, like, to your point, Mike, you get to look around the table and say, okay, I'm going to be transparent here, show you guys where we are, where sales are this month,
Mhm.
how, if that continues, will affect the company. And then you get to look around and see who's willing to put the work in to be a part of
Right.
the solution, or who you can see who's ready to be like, oh, things are going to get tough. I'm not built for tough.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that all in mentality shows up in those moments.
Right.
Absolutely.
There was a great, I don't know if you guys ever read Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last.
I have not read that
There's
one.
a great moment where he's talking about when layoffs really became a thing, right? When people were like, fuck doing what's best for the
Mm.
group, do what's best for the company, cut these, right? Make less people do more and pay them the same. And we cover the money we're going to lose, and now we won't lose. And it was that became more and more popular, more and more like industry norm. And a company was facing this, and this is what the board told the manager, director, CEO, whatever, to do, was cut. And him and someone in finance went all night long before a meeting and looked through all the numbers, and they walked to the whole company, right? Not just the board, the whole company's in this room for an assembly to talk about it, where he's supposed to say they're doing layoffs. And he says, I'm supposed to be here to tell you that this percentage is going to be fired, right? And there's nothing we can do about it. Or we figured out that we can save that exact amount of money by having 2 less sick days, 2 less holidays, right? This amount taken off our lunch, right? So we can take this amount off our day,
Right.
right? And if everyone gave up, I think it was like $10 a check, right? We don't have to fire anybody,
Mm.
but you guys have to agree to that. And the company agreed to it. And I just thought that was like, first of all, to even take the time to try to figure that out,
Right.
fucking, you're a kind of leader I like,
Yeah.
right? And then for the company to be like, we'll do this. And then the best was it turned around, did good, and they gave everyone back everything that they took during
Plus
that
some
time.
more.
Right? They were like,
Mhm.
here's all those $10 that you gave us. This is back, right? This back. And they were like, oh my God. But it worked out because they were willing to
Now,
all come together.
that's so good. I like that. But did they also ask from the company to step up in certain ways, or was there nothing?
No, they said if this is because they did it because they didn't want the person next to them to be fired.
Right. I
They
love
said
that.
it might not be me,
Mhm.
but it might
Yeah.
be you.
Right.
Right. And it's like, fuck, all right, then let's all do a little to save rather than just keep what we're doing and get a whole bunch of people cut.
It's good.
And if the rallying cry wasn't so strong around him for that, he would have been fired.
Yeah.
Because to make a move against what the board says, typically you're on the chopping block.
I thought you were about to tell us that they came in and instead of laying off like people within the
They laid
company,
him.
they're like, we quit instead. You know what I mean? Or we're gonna fire 5 of the executives that
Right.
I do think the CEO worked a year for nothing.
Oh,
Wow.
shit.
Wow.
I think that was one of the things. I think he said, and to prove that I'm with it
Didn't
I
Tom
won't be
Brady
paid.
take a pay cut?
multiple times.
Exactly.
I knew you were gonna bring Tom Brady into this again.
I just wanted just wanted to throw that out there.
No, I think that's huge, man. There have been times, man. There have been times where I had to show personal sacrifice for my team
Mhm.
to let them know, like, I'm asking you to do whatever it takes. I need to show you that I'm willing to do
Because I'm
whatever it
willing to do
takes.
it,
Right.
Yeah.
And so there have been times where I've taken sacrifices. There have been times where I go out, like I'm going out and doing whatever it takes, because at the end of the day, it is my baby, and I'm willing to do all of those things. I love what shout out Doug Gallagher for 1 second, because he says he was knocking on doors and somebody said, why are you knocking on doors? Aren't you the broker? He says, yeah, all that means is that I'm broker than you. And so and I was like, yo, big facts though. And so being that person that's willing to go out and knock on doors, is huge. But at the same time, we wouldn't be where we are without the people that are willing to go out there
Well,
and
that's
knock
the
on
difference
doors.
between a leader and a boss.
Mm.
A boss isn't
Mm.
going to do everything that he asks everybody else to do. A leader will.
Right.
Remember when boss was like glorified as the
Mm.
thing?
Yeah, you wanted to be the boss.
Oh yeah. Remember Michael Scott says this in The Office?
I love Michael Scott.
Yeah.
I love that.
That was a
Shout
good,
out to Michael
said movie.
Scott.
yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
Scranton.
That's what
Yeah,
she said.
yo, that's 2 episodes in a row that Michael Scott got brought up.
Yeah.
Maybe
He
that means that
started
we're supposed to
talking
shut down now.
We were
Right.
talking about that just a second ago when he was like he had to fire people. I thought of the episode of The Office. He did find somebody to fire, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
We're gonna come up with a 45-day, 45 point, 1 point per day.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn this thing around, and you can take that to the bank.
freaking love that. What are we just talking about? Where there was like a 40-day plan? Oh my goodness.
Oh, Master Networks, the 45-day plan.
That drives me up a wall every time we talk about that.
I know,
think
and I
of
get a
The
kick out of
Office.
seeing you react every single
Every
time.
single time, like I can't help it, and I just want to like do his twirl. And I just-
It's a spin.
oh, that's a twirl.
For those
They're
of
like,
you who've seen The Office, you
lose
know what
the
the hell we're
spin.
talking about.
Lose the spin.
No, lose the twirl.
You just whatever.
No, he called it a spin. They called it a twirl. He called it a spin.
It's Women's
Sure.
Day.
It's Women's
I'm
Day.
right.
Yeah,
You're,
You're
Happy
right. She's right.
International
I'm sorry,
Women's
guys. I'm wrong. She's right. I'm not worthy.
until midnight.
Oh, my Wayne's World shit. We're not worthy.
Yeah, till midnight.
Until midnight.
We're not worthy.
All
So,
right.
and here we are. Do we have any comments that we need to follow up on?
Yes.
No, a lot of people said that's great leadership, and then Sasha said, "Thank you so much for the value. I need y'all's wisdom today."
Yeah, Sasha, thank you for
Yes.
sharing with us that you were in High School Musical. That's
Yeah,
freaking
that's
dope.
awesome. So
That
dope.
is so cool.
She
Yeah,
said she felt Zach Efron's bicep. She didn't say that.
that's not
I
what
was
she
gonna
said.
say he didn't really have them. Back
I know
then.
he was
Yeah.
weak. This was before the steroids.
So you
I
were
mean-
Really? Were there
basically his
steroids?
co-star.
No, never.
I don't know. This isn't E True Hollywood show, okay?
Oh
or
no! 'cause
gossip
If we're
or
talking
whatever.
about that,
This
we need
is
to talk
not.
about Kanye
Oh,
Kim,
gosh.
because that has been my.
Easy.
No, we can't talk about that.
we could talk about the documentary.
I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about. Well, I mean, we can talk about
We
that
did
too.
watch a little bit of the documentary.
But I want
The
to.
first episodes.
Dope.
No, I
No,
watched the
when
10
you
seconds that
turned
you
it
had on
on.
the screen.
Oh, yeah,
No,
that
it wasn't
was-
10 seconds. It was a whole.
That was
2
the third
episodes.
episode.
I didn't-
Is
I
not
didn't
good.
get all that.
Oh.
I was working.
So,
No, the
you.
first 2 episodes are dope. I will say this real
The
quick.
third
If you haven't
episode
watched
I
it,
was hanging out,
hold
I
on.
was
I'm not going to
working.
spoil it for you. But there was a time where he's literally showing. What's the name of that song? The one where he's chasing Stacey Dash to the airport. Come on,
Um,
somebody help me.
Sorry.
I don't know
When you
that.
guys are thinking about, I'm going to say, "What up, Michelle Finn?"
Hey, Michelle.
It all falls down, or
yeah,
is that the name of it?
I don't know if that's the name of the song, but
When it-
I remember the one where he showed it to the head.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
what it
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's the part. So anyway, he's literally showing this song. He's showing it to executives inside Rock at the building,
Mm.
and they're not paying any
No.
attention. Not even. I'm talking like taking phone
Story of my
calls while
life.
he's playing it, and it goes on to win a fucking Grammy.
Dang.
Jokes on y'all.
All right. That's what I feel like every day with you
Let's
guys.
talk about how the
Shut up.
ego. Talk about having humility and then the ego he
Oh,
has.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have to watch those episodes and see how that develops.
Yeah.
But no, I'm down to talk about those two. Those two are interesting right now.
Also, talk about International Women's Day. Someone made a post about him today and said,
I
would
shared
they
it.
put him in the
That was
conservatorship?
me.
That was you.
Well, I shared it. It was
I
my
was like,
post.
dang,
But
free
for
Britney.
real, just because he is a man and he was rich. If he was broke, he would have a PFA. He would be in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
He is a what the heck is that word? I forget the word, guys.
I don't know.
Get my shoes on.
Pass.
But it
It's
even
about that time.
and to
It's
even
about
make
Kanye.
that
I'm
yeah,
like,
we're-
It's time
To
go.
even
Guys,
make
we'll
that-
be back. You ladies continue.
Yeah.
but no, this is serious when it comes to supporting women and also abusive relationships.
He's
Okay,
abusive.
that's
look
fair.
look
That's
at
fair.
how
That's fair.
rich Kim Kardashian is and how full she is with everything that she's doing in her life, and not even she can get away.
He's a predator. That's the word I was thinking of. If he was
Ooh.
broke and he wasn't successful, he would be a freaking predator
I,
at the shit he's doing.
I gotta pay attention more because I don't know nothing of this.
Well, the things that
He's harassing her, but
Oh.
it goes to show that even in these and that is a form of verbal abuse, sort of a toxicity in a relationship. Not even one of the richest women in the world can get away from that. And that's crazy.
That's insane.
But also, it's like it's what you're saying from her perspective is when she's one of the richest people, right,
Yeah.
and richest woman. To him, he's like, I've conquered everything,
Mm.
right? Like I came, I saw,
I'm
I
above the
conquered
law, like Steven
record
Seagal.
sales, right? Record sales of sold out concerts. When you start
Yeah.
thinking like, what the hell can stop me? When you start like, there's a dangerous
problem
line.
It's a problem.
There's a dangerous line between what the hell can stop me and what the hell can stop me. Right.
Right.
Yeah,
That
right.
one
Yeah, yeah.
phrase, there's a
It's the way
line in
you
the
say
middle of it. And it's very dangerous because I walk around like, what the hell can stop me? And the answer is me. Right. That's what I would say. But then like there's a click in that where if you go a little too far,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
You're
King
in
Kong ain't got shit
right.
on me.
Right. It becomes a problem. So it's hard because we almost teach like walk that line. But it's a very hard line to walk.
Mhm.
So you think you came from nothing. You come and just over conquer, like literally from lyrics and songs to beats and songs to records, right? To being
his
the
fashion
dude, fashion,
Mm.
being the
huge.
dude for like being the dude in the space where you're doing everything in a space and then branching in other spaces and doing big things
He's
too.
literally, I think he is the richest black man like ever. I mean, he's bigger than Jay-Z.
I can't believe
Way
that.
bigger than
But
Jay-Z.
you know what
Killed
though?
me.
It's
I did
not
not- I
just
thought
it's
Jay-Z
not
was
just
it.
music
No.
though. It's his fashion.
Kanye surpassed him big time.
Oh
Mm.
yeah.
You know what's scary
What about the
though?
Pursuit of Happiness guy? You like a billionaire?
No.
No.
Oh.
Will Smith?
No.
No,
No.
not Will Smith. The real guy.
Hell
Him
no.
too, he's probably there.
That dude ended up that firm ended up closing and everything after that.
Well, he
I didn't want to spoil that
he
for
got
you.
his own firm. He didn't.
And he
That
closed.
was damn.
Yeah.
Dang.
Dude, no, Kanye.
Wah,
We didn't watch
wah.
that on Shark Tank.
I guess
Yeah.
he should have been pursuing better.
Kanye is the richest.
Yeah. Anyway, but can we
saw that.
talk about that for a second? How about this, right? And what you guys are just saying, right? In everything that we're talking about, National Women's Day and how narcissistic and abusive he's been, his sale today, to add salt to the fucking wound, sold out in like seconds.
But look
Really?
what happened to Britney Spears. She
So-
went crazy, shaved her head, and then her parents took control of her.
Mhm.
And what now? Her career is doing fine now, but she went.
After how many
For
years?
years.
Yeah, but
He
look
should
at him.
have
He was
fight.
gone crazy with his presidential election and everything he's been saying.
Kanye 2024.
This is one
He
thing.
said slavery was a choice.
Right.
Like he's
Oh
been
my
off the wall
God.
crazy. And what's happening to him?
Right?
Did you hear what I said,
So
woman?
can we?
Our daughter was buying Yeezys this morning, is what I'm trying to say.
She was trying.
We say
She
Michelle
walked
said
right
something-
past it like I didn't say that.
Michelle said something really interesting to me, and I think maybe not for us, but it's a great conversation. Michelle said that's so effing true, talking about what you guys were talking about with Kanye, and then said it's true. It's accepted as masculinity.
Mm.
Absolutely. It's toxic masculinity.
Right. That's I think we need to really start being more specific when we
Yeah.
say things like with masculinity, because it's becoming a war on masculinity, which should not be the war. It should be the war on toxic masculinity.
Mhm.
That should be the war.
Agreed.
And toxic anything. I don't care. feminine, masculine, whatever it is toxic. And it's I think sometimes we lump them together and then it becomes a war on masculinity, and then we're breeding necessarily a thought process
The I hate
into
men.
right.
process,
And
yeah.
and even in men, like, oh my God, am I too masculine right now?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
like what? Like what? I don't even know.
Like
what?
men ain't shit.
Right.
Well, that's been
that
going
kind
on
of
for
thing.
years.
No, I understand that, but also like the idea
That doesn't
now-
make it right.
It's-
I'm not
right.
saying it does. I'm
I'm
not
not
saying
even
it's not a
talking.
new
I'm not even
thing.
talking about necessarily a woman saying something towards a man in this. I'm saying in men's culture now, in the men's society, in our group, male group, right?
Yeah.
As men, I think we get into this walk of now. If I am masculine, I am toxic, and
Mm.
that's not it. There is
Yeah.
toxic masculinity, just like there's toxic feminism.
Right.
It's not that masculinity is toxic.
Right. There has to be that balance of it.
Just Google Kanye right now, 2022.
Right.
Don't
That's
do
to-
this.
That's toxic masculinity.
That's crazy that he's the richest black man in the world, and she's probably one of the richest women in the world.
I'm just really
One of them.
surprised that you are saying men question this. I've never seen a man question their
Yeah, I've never
masculinity.
heard it.
I've never heard of it either.
Oh, they,
Like,
they-
men
I'm not saying
dominate-
it doesn't
no,
happen.
no,
I'm sure
men
it
do,
does.
because now it's like it's
I mean, you
like-
guys did have that the weekend where men make men hard.
it was a great weekend.
I
And
thought that was behind me.
Literally all of the
Whoa,
attendees.
whoa.
Oh,
You don't want that, buddy.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry.
Add insult to injury.
But the idea is like, but even then, it's like, what do you put on a shirt? Well, I mean, if you put like even men sharpen men, people are like, whoa, like
What about women?
Yeah, and it's like, right,
Been about
but
men for so long. What about
Mm.
women?
no, saying does women not sharpen men? And it's true, but it's a different type of sharpen,
Okay. yeah.
right? That's what we're saying, and it's not. Neither one is necessarily
It's also
wrong or right.
specific to a men's only event.
Right. And it's like, so it's, to me, I think we made a war on men because so long it was a dictator world. Get it? Dictator. Sorry.
my
So I can't take so much credit for that. I think that was Eddie Griffin. He's like, it's a man's world. They don't call it never mind, they call it a dictionary, right? And they don't call it, they call it dictation, and they call it
Oh, God, here we
dictator,
go.
right? But it was I didn't say the other words because I was like, toxic masculinity was about to come out. But that's the thing right there. It's like now we have to, it's like, it's even just being masculine can be under attack just for being masculine. When in a man, there's a certain amount of masculinity.
Yeah.
Right. And
I
that's
feel like it's needed.
right. 100%. I agree. So it's now we're like, what is the right amount? And it's like, don't be an arrogant dickhead.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not
But
really questioning. It's just more so like for me, example, like I'm friends with a lot of females, so it's like easy because I've been around like, a lot of people. I know.
sorry, the way he said
It's-
that.
yeah.
I was like,
He's like,
pimp?
I've been around a lot of
So you're a
females.
pimp. Is
Yeah.
what you're
All
saying.
right. All right, pimp. I see your
I
wolf.
was like, I don't condone that.
Yeah.
But no, I see it a lot because it's just one of those things where like I grew up with a whole bunch of women, and it's like I've been told like don't try to be like this type of dude, whatever, right?
Mhm.
I've seen it, and it's like my male friends who's confused with a lot of things and stuff like that. It's just more so like them not understanding, and then thinking like because it's like it's different from how I grew up from a dude that had
Right.
been around a lot of guys.
Right. If they grew up with all brothers
All
versus
brothers,
growing up
yeah,
with
I
all
mean,
sisters or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like I can see it from both sides and stuff like that. Not completely, of course, but I can see
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was a moment right there.
I was just like,
That was a masculinity moment. I don't know. Hold on.
I think I can see
Right.
it.
No, but
No, but hold on real quick for everybody that can't hear Contre. He was just giving his perspective, having grown up around a lot of women and, having that witness to what was happening on the opposite side of that toxic masculinity.
the mic's actually caught him.
So
Nuts, isn't it?
it's
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah, it's like his
Yeah.
words are going across the screen.
we had a
Oh,
meeting
nice.
Nuts.
yesterday.
Oh, shit.
We had a meeting yesterday, and one of the questions that we had to like write, he was like, take 60 seconds and write it down. He's like, what do you want what do you want people to know about you, or what do you want to teach people, or how do you want people to view you, or something. One of the responses I put is, I want women to know that they are more than the man they're standing next to.
Mm,
And that's
I dig
so,
that.
I love
so
that.
I'm not, I don't know. I'm just,
So why is this is where I sit in this. Why is what we're talking about went back to masculinity, right? Like, why is Kanye toxic? He could just be toxic, or his behavior is toxic. That's not a
interesting.
man behavior. That is his behavior.
because in society, men have had that role where this has become acceptable. Because if a woman was to act like that, that it would not be okay.
That's why they said the Britney reference.
Yeah, the Britney, she got that, what is it, the
Conservatorship.
Yeah, that was thrown on her immediately when she was being toxic. I like the reference or song. But she was being toxic. She was being, a little crazy and
Right.
just wasn't conforming.
So I think there's a
Right, but-
difference between the two things. So you're saying toxic masculinity, and I think that you're saying that there's an inequality on the way that it's
Sexism.
being treated,
Right.
which goes back to the whole idea that we've talked about before several times.
Yeah,
where,
double standards.
well, hold on, it's not necessarily double standards, because hear this example out for a second, right? For example, right, my daughter, who is 17 years old and a senior, and she has a dress code that's very strict in her school that tells her she cannot wear certain things. And the reason why she cannot wear certain things is because it is distracting to young men.
Mhm.
Tell them to stay the fuck focused.
And that was her response.
So
she was
why-
like, why
yeah.
are
Yeah,
they?
good.
Oh,
I
agree.
can't
I
show
have
my
the same-
shoulders because he can't pay attention.
Right.
Like, what
Right.
the hell?
Also, why are my
Agreed.
shoulders?
Right.
No, but agreed. But
And so the
again,
other side of it is, and there was a big post that went around social media a while ago, and they were talking about like the way women dress, and it was like the reasons why women get abused, and it was dressing skimpy, makeup
a woman.
and this and that. No,
Because men
no,
have no
no,
self-control.
no. At the end,
Well, those
because of abusers and rapists.
Right.
That was
Right.
the last thing on the list.
Yeah.
No,
Should've
that's
been-
the
that's
the
the
only
only thing on the
reason.
list.
Right.
right. But here's let's first, I'm not going to pretend
I
like
think there's a separation, and that's
Right.
what
I'm
Mike's
not
getting
gonna- I'm
at.
not
Is
gonna
that's not
pretend
the
like-
same.
right.
Sure.
I think we're lumping things together that can't be lumped together, because then the war becomes too broad and thin, and there's too much back and forth, like what is, what isn't. No, it's like abusive rapists, unacceptable in society.
Yeah.
Take
Or
them
any
out.
rapist.
Right. True.
Yeah, like,
They could
not
be-
just
No,
abuse,
I was saying
nice
They could be
rapists,
like
too.
First of all,
finessing
all
rapists. They're not good
all
either.
rapists are abusive. Let's just say that.
Everyone
I was
with no
saying,
dents in a
I was
white
saying
man.
like
Yeah.
and abusive or rapist, right? Either or, right? Not.
The
I don't
nice
think
rapists
Yeah,
go kick
rapists are
rocks, too.
sweethearts, right? But also, I
The
think
nice ones also.
we have to be very honest in the space where if you're the country was created by middle-aged white dudes.
Yes.
Right. So
Systems
as a
were
woman,
created by
sometimes as
middle-aged
a
white
woman, we're
dudes.
like,
Right.
sorry you
Right.
feel that
So
way.
they all lean towards where they ran it. They started it, they created it, and they ran it for a long period of time.
Right.
So the beliefs, the culture of that was bred into it.
Right. So then, but then aren't those dress codes the direct result of toxic masculinity then? If men are the problem and men are the ones that set the rule.
But it's not all men. That's
No, I'm saying in that
right.
situation,
Uh-huh.
right? They're saying, okay, we're going to set this rule. This rule is set by men
Mhm.
for women to dress a certain way so they don't
So
distract
men are
men.
more comfortable. Right, but it's the man that wrote the rule.
Right.
Right. It's that man that wrote the rule. It's him being a cocksucker.
Yeah, but it's everybody that's following the rule that's okaying that rule are cocksuckers too then.
And the men that
This
caused
is-
that to be a problem in
This
the
is
first place.
2022. Why are we still listening to a rule that was made so far long ago when we've changed so many?
Well, you know how
along
many
the
different
way?
rules we're still following that are fucking asinine?
Yes.
Right?
I-
Like
Yeah.
but you're not agreeing with the dress code.
correct.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I was saying. Yeah.
Right. Because he's a dickhead
I
that
think
made
we're
the
all
dress
on the
code.
same
Yeah.
page.
And that made
it's just
but the programming of us was because we were built by the
Mhm.
people that had a seat in the room were middle-aged white dudes.
right. And
So,
so
they're going
when
to be the most protected. Their feelings were heard the most, right? Like they built the foundation, they built
Right.
the culture,
right,
right? So now branching off from that and figuring out how fucked up some of it was, because that's all we knew then,
right.
is going to be some growing
Right.
And then
pains.
what's your
So-
I don't think that
definition
makes it any
So
different.
no, and let me.
I don't think that makes it mask for, because I mean, no offense, he has no part in that, right?
Right.
So it can't be a masculine thing because it wasn't. it was just this group of men, 30 white dudes, sat in a room and built the foundational culture of that we stood on.
Which we've
think it
And
was
then
learned, yeah.
60.
since then, we've been trying to figure out how to make it better.
So and I'm not saying it's right at by any means, because I'm all for people being treated the way that they should be treated,
Mhm.
men or women. But when you say that the foundation of how things were created were through men, and so now you feel like there's this sexism thing from a women's perspective, when you say, "Oh, this hurts my feelings," I'm like, "Welcome to my fucking life. I'm a
Mhm.
woman."
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that creates that men ain't shit to women, because of how we've been conditioned growing up.
Right.
I mean, you gotta
Is
think-
don't show my shoulders in school because my male teacher might look at me and
Right.
not finish
Why-
my
Why I'm
tests,
saying
like-
that's the problem is because then we fight the same fight we've been fighting
Right.
rather than fight a fight that can
Right.
actually bring progress that we want to see.
Right.
Right. So that's why we can't be like, hey, men are shit. Because
Right.
if most men hear that, they're gonna be like, fuck you.
Oh
you
yeah,
ain't shit.
I'm not agreeing
Right?
with
The-
it. I'm just
The
saying
progress isn't
most
there.
women are thinking, "Welcome to my world."
Right. So men need to say, listen, she can wear whatever she wants. It's my job not to do anything that's fucked up
Yeah.
against what she wants. Like, and men are sitting up and saying that. You said that rule sucks. Right. It's a
Yeah.
bullshit rule.
Yeah.
Why they created everything. Right. I said it's a bullshit rule. He says it's a bullshit rule. Right. That's progress because we're breaking it from being a masculine men thing or a feminine woman thing. And these are the lines. And we're
Mhm.
saying, no, there's things that are fucked up and it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's just fucked up rules
So
that were
then
created by dickheads.
what is your definition of toxic masculinity? So we all understand your specific definition.
And remember
See-
that comes from a dictionary.
I take
Mhm.
masculinity off
Okay.
and I say
So-
toxic
Okay.
because it doesn't have to do with a sex or a certain attribute, right? It has to do with if you're toxic.
Right.
Like
I
if you're a
agree.
controlling fuck,
I agree.
you're toxic.
Man or
right?
women.
Like if you're an egotistical maniac, you're
Right.
toxic.
Right.
Agreed.
So it's
Agreed.
just taking that one piece off and just saying, so then we can all sit here and say, that's a motherfucker.
Right.
Rather than being like women screaming at men screaming at women, but yet we actually agree on the real conversation.
Right.
Because then it breaks down those barriers of saying it's us versus them or
Right.
this versus that. And it's all of us
Right.
trying to make it where our daughters, right? Because like we all have them, right? Is in a position where it's not going to be weighed more because one has nuts,
Right.
right? Because they are nuts.
And that was from the comment that we are talking about. But when I was saying the abusive thing with, because it is a thing where women have a harder time getting out of abusive situations,
Mhm.
that someone so rich is having still that same issue and it's publicized
Mhm.
is scary.
100%.
That's fucking scary for
There-
women.
That
And
should
it
be
just
scary
goes
for
to
everyone.
show. Yeah, I mean, that's scary for everyone,
Right,
for
Because
sure.
if they did that to my daughter, whoo,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah, no. I'd be in,
They would have to kill me.
Hmm.
but that's scary.
I'm going to dive into this a little bit more. I want to understand more before I have more conversation on it.
What do you need?
No,
help with?
I just because I think it's interesting. I like your perspective on this. But I also think that I think it might be more than just simply being toxic. And I'm not saying it is toxic
Mhm.
masculinity, but I do think that there has been just again, this example with Kanye and Kim, that is showing us that it's also socially acceptable,
Right.
right? And that's
Right.
the
For a man to
that's
do
the
that.
problem, not
Right.
the fact that Kanye's. I mean, that's a problem separate.
Mhm.
But then it's the other side of that problem is that it's nobody's doing anything.
Right.
Right.
Well, because from where a lot of us grew up, right? Like, what would happen after a bad breakup?
They'd get back together.
Not where I grew up, right? It would be whatever
I was
one
going to
got
answer
their
something
heart broke
way inappropriate, but
is going to trash the other one. And typically the one that speaks first is the one that heard. And most of the time, men sit in more areas with more people of conversation.
I feel like
No.
that doesn't
Bars,
justify.
barbershops. I'm not saying it justifies. I'm
Okay.
saying that's what happens in where I grew up. All right. The men would go to the bar at the end of the night. All right. And the bar is full of dudes and has like 5 women in it. Right.
Mhm.
and the dudes would all say, they would all talk their shit.
Yeah.
Right. Well, now social media has made it where what our bar conversation is now national and international conversation. It's
Mhm.
not the bar conversation anymore. So it's like derailing this person because they did something against you or hurt your feelings or broke your heart, whatever. Now it's become, I go on Facebook and do this shit. But if we really look at it, Kanye's big, so we're all going to see it, but he's not, and he or she is not the first to go on social media and just absolutely rip someone a fucking part because
Well,
they're
this
on it.
is
I don't think
this
that's
is
what I'm
further
saying.
than that now.
Regardless, like, why didn't let's use your bar example for a second,
Mhm.
right? And let's imagine, okay, nobody's saying anything to this dude who's just trashing this
Right.
girl, right?
Over and over.
And now let's put this
Getting
at
worse and worse.
scale
Mhm.
with a million eyes watching it, hundreds of millions of eyes watching
Mhm.
it, and him just being free to do that.
Well,
more
not
and
even
more.
that. He's not just trashing her. He's threatening their family. He's physically threatening her boyfriend. I mean,
He made a
saying
music video where he like
is
burying
burying her boyfriend and
And
decapitate. Like
literally.
that.
Eminem did that shit like 20 years ago. Sorry.
Okay, but
Right, but this is and when we say trashing, this is that's a form of abuse.
he bought the house across the street.
Yeah.
Like I'm just sorry, like that.
He's petty as fuck.
She can't get away from him right now.
But-
And for her to be have so many tools, have so many resources, have so much fucking money,
Mhm.
which most women don't have that shit, and she still can't get away from him. That's what I'm saying. It's fucking terrifying.
100%. I'm not saying it's not, and I'm nowhere am I saying is what Kanye's doing is right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's Kanye
Yeah.
doing some bullshit. Right.
And I get
Sure,
that part of the
sure.
argument.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
think,
understand
but what
that.
I'm talking about and the way the world's reacting is the reaction from it. And again, nobody's doing anything to
That's
come
what-
to Kim's aid.
Well, that's what
Well,
bothers me.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Right.
understand 100% that this man is responsible for his actions,
Right.
but I'm frustrated with the social, how socially acceptable
Because
this
it's
is for
Kanye.
everybody. Like, it's
Because
some joke,
Kanye.
right? They're looking
Right,
at
it's Kanye.
him buying he bought the house across the street. He's petty.
Oh, and they call the boyfriend
No,
Skeet.
but,
He calls
like,
him Skeet now. Nobody hurt, and
the-
he had to put out a viral post saying, "Don't hurt Skeet," because she asked me to put this out because he's getting death threats constantly, and took his social media back down because he's getting literal
Skeet?
death. Pete Davidson. That's
Oh,
what he
nice.
named him.
I
So
was
now
like-
everyone
I was
calls
like,
him
who the
that.
hell is this? I was
I
like,
just
he has
like-
another boyfriend?
The fact that and this women go through this without having millions of dollars to be able to fight that shit. That's
Right. But so I go here and I say, what you just described to me is not a men thing. That's a money thing. Because
'cause I
he
feel like
has
if a
more
woman
money.
did
So he
that-
could buy that house. He could do that thing. He could make this.
Right. But what
And
they're
his
saying
following
is
like, yeah, fuck that.
No, if a
Right, but what
woman
they're
did it, it
saying
would
is-
not be tolerated in this world. Like
Right,
in
so what we're-
2022, if a woman did what Kanye's doing right now with all the money that this woman would have, if she was doing it, she would be canceled. Period. Because it's Kanye West, because he's a man, because he runs the freaking world right now, nobody's doing nothing. And that's what I believe. And that's what frustrates me. I think that is
I
a
don't-
man-woman thing.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think it's wrong 100% if it was anybody,
Well, yeah.
but specifically this is
but
definitely
it's not happening
happening.
to anybody.
This is definitely happening to women more often, which definitely
100%.
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying. And you're right. Not everybody can buy the house across the street,
Right.
but the ex can definitely go get a job at the same job that you have.
100%.
Right? They can do petty things to
100%.
continue to harass. And again, it's being done at every level,
Mhm.
from the girl in the trailer park
100%.
all the way up to Kim
100%.
Kardashian.
100%.
and I actually feel like especially in the medical field, when we deal with domestic violence things and all of the stuff that we preach about getting out of those situations for women, this is kind of like setting you back.
Right.
You know what I mean? For women in that mentality, like think of a woman right now in an abusive relationship
Mhm.
and she sees that shit and she's like, she can't even get out of it. Why would I
Why
even
get out of
try?
it? True. That's a great point.
Scary.
Right.
That's why I'm not I'm not
Oh,
arguing.
no, I
It's a-
understand.
like, that shit's scary.
Right. Oh, shit. Yeah. Right. Like, but to Bobby's point, the girl in the trailer park that can't get a job because this dude goes to every job she has. That's scary as shit
Oh,
too.
I agree.
Right. It's
but-
the same thing.
But
Just
when
at their
you're
level.
when you're seeing this currently
Right.
happening and you're that trailer park girl, does that motivate you? to get further away, like to even try?
So yeah.
Like
It's-
you're
she's
that
saying she
trailer
might as
park
well
girl.
stay
You
in
might as
the
well
abusive
stay.
relationship.
You're seeing these, richest people in the world, and she's
And I think that is
It's
what,
crazy.
whether it's titled properly,
Yeah.
whether it's titled properly or not, I think that is what is the toxic masculinity, right? Is this idea that men at scale are getting away with this at every level, right? And so while I agree with you, this is really
it's
toxicity,
toxicity. Yes.
right? But because you have the historical abuse that goes along with it,
Mhm.
and that's why, again, I'm not saying it's titled properly,
Mhm.
but that's where the justification so far for the way it's been titled has come from, in my opinion.
I think one of the biggest listen, that's an awful situation, and it
Mhm.
is, and there's it's horrible, and there's horrible
Sure.
situations in every town, everything that it's we need to do more about 100%. What I'll fall into where it's just like, whoa, is that the supporters
Mhm.
of Kanye
Right.
cheering it on.
That's scary.
But that is following a person,
Right.
and that's the dangers of following a person
Right.
and not a purpose or
Right.
a mission or something bigger, because people change, and then they're not all the time doing what's in the best interest of everyone or in
Right.
society. And then so just following a person because they're them and they dropped an awesome album, or they came from nothing and became one of the best ever, right? Just following because of that as a person
Mhm.
can lead people to this very moment where people are like, yeah, get that house, fuck with them, right? Not thinking, oh my God, look at all the the mental anguish that other people are
Right.
going through strictly because this is
Right.
happening. We're just thinking, oh, it's easy, get
Right.
them, ha ha ha. Right.
At first, yeah, I agree. People thought it was funny, but they weren't Kim. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right. And sometimes you don't even know, it's when people used to do things to go at us. At first, I would be like, oh, that's funny. Right. Like, that's your big move. Someone made a Facebook review, like, way to go, guy. Right. And then it's like, then they don't stop there, and you're like, oh shit, this isn't that funny anymore.
Right.
Right. Because it escalates
Right.
from that. And that's the problem. But the thing is that it's Kanye's Kanye, right?
Mhm.
And he's gonna do whatever it's in him to do. We can all have this conversation and say he's fucked up and shouldn't be doing it.
Mhm.
And people that are following him should be saying that too.
Right.
Because the problem isn't that he can get away with it. It's the problem is that more and more people aren't saying it's wrong.
Right. And I feel like
Right.
that, and that's what I was
Right.
trying to say earlier, is I feel like that's pushing us back now in this, because this and this isn't an instant that happens all of the time in such a huge social experiment. I feel like it is. It's like this doesn't happen all the time with celebrities where you're seeing this type of toxicity.
Mhm.
And so I feel like all of the people that are thinking it's funny or supporting it or commenting and, laughing, it's like this is now being seen, and
Right.
it's taking us backwards
And
now.
we've also seen this play out with Kanye West before, where he
Right.
then came out and issued a public apology, right?
Mhm.
When he interrupted Taylor Swift
Yeah.
at the
Mhm.
awards,
Right.
right? And he saw the public reaction, which
Right.
then influenced him
Him.
enough to make or
Right.
try to put corrective measures in
Right.
place.
Right.
Right now, he's not seeing that,
Right.
and
Right.
therefore he's not getting. So the power is ours,
Right.
Right.
but
Right.
because this is either normalized
Mhm.
in so
Which
many
is-
people's
yeah.
eyes.
Culture.
He's getting
in
a
society.
little backlash. So
Now-
I'm sure.
now
How
he
could he
is.
not?
Getting
How
a
could he
little
not be?
backlash
How
about
could he
his
not be?
video, and he was, and from an
Finally.
article I read, you know what he said?
well, this is art. It's art. That's what he's saying.
Right.
He's
Because
I
it's
know
not,
art.
it's not
His
enough backlash
creative
yet. There's
mind.
changes. Right. And all that tells me is that he's very consumed by public opinion.
Right.
And what does that stroke? Right. So it's, to me, in something you said, like it says setting us back. Normally progress looks like 2 steps back.
Right.
Because normally something has to happen and then happen to an extreme degree for people to
I
be
hope
like,
it moves
oh
forward.
shit. Right. Like, this is a problem in our culture or society.
Yeah.
And we need to
Seen
address
that.
it. Right.
Seen that a
I
lot.
agree.
Yeah,
I
they're
hope
right.
it.
So-
I mean, I pray that it does.
Right. So sometimes it does look like, oh shit, we're going backwards. And it's
Right.
because it has to get to the point where it gets enough attention. People, like, literally what you guys just told me today. It's like the first I'm hearing of it.
Right.
right? So it's like
I mean,
like,
there's so much
that's,
more, but
that's how little I follow this or know
Yeah.
about it. So I imagine there's other people like us too that I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck's going on.
and
Right?
honestly, I didn't either until I saw a post from
Huh?
someone.
Oh yeah, let's shut that down.
I didn't even
Bye TikTok.
see a TikTok.
See, Tiki.
I didn't invest too much into it until I saw someone make that
Tiki,
post
tiki,
saying
tango.
like,
what's his name? What's this guy's name? I'm so sorry.
"You're
I'm
fine.
so
You're
sorry.
fine." What going back to like the trailer park girl, like I didn't look into the Kanye stuff until a woman made a post about that, saying,
Mhm.
using that analogy, basically like that it, making this okay is not making this okay,
Right.
Right. But it's like,
and
so-
that's why I looked more into it.
so this is one of the things. This is, and I'll let you I want you guys to speak in this, right? So in neighborhoods, typically, and this is not a knock on police at all. Typically, you weren't protected by the police per se. They weren't around when shit was happening. They came after you called or
them,
someone called
right.
them, and they came after the fact.
Yeah,
You were protected by your neighborhood,
yeah,
right? Like your neighborhood set the tone for what was acceptable or not acceptable, right?
Mhm.
Like, and that's the way it was. I used to say I had neighbor parents, right? Because everybody parented me on the fucking street,
right,
right? Like it wasn't like I just had my parents. Anybody could whoop my ass at any moment if I was doing something that deserved my ass whooping, and my dad would buy him a beer, right? And shake their hand, say thank you,
Mhm.
right? It's not the same now. Like
No.
if someone else parents your kids, everybody freaks the fuck out, right? But it's back in the day, if someone was doing something like this in your neighborhood, someone would send a message to make sure they understood, don't do it anymore,
right,
right? It's like my mom, right? Her aunt,
yes,
right? And
Yeah.
the guys went and broke the guy's legs,
yeah,
right? And it was to send the message that you don't do this, right?
Right.
You have to learn. So now the problem was the guys that would do that, when they did it, they became the problem. So like they were toxic now because the way they handle, you didn't have to handle it that way. You couldn't have to do it that way. So now no one does it that way. So then people are shouting off and doing things that deserves a little understanding of this is not proper, right? In society, in our culture. But now the ones that were doing that, the ones that would handle that situation don't handle it anymore because now they became toxic masculinity. And that's why I say we need to change the name,
sure,
because sometimes you deserve an ass beating.
right, oh yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes
yeah.
I deserve an ass
Kanye
beating.
needs to get knocked the fuck out right
Listen,
now.
there's a reason why I don't have all my teeth. Is because sometimes I deserve to get hit in the face.
So, like, I look at toxic masculinity as a man who uses his gender, his
To
being
gain
food-
advantage.
to have an
to gain-
assertive, yeah,
Yes.
Right. Oh, I
To
get
have
it. Okay.
superiority over the woman or
Mhm.
whatever
Yeah.
it is. Like, that's what I really look
Alright.
at as
I
toxic
agree.
masculinity. Like,
Thank
he
you.
uses.
I just needed someone to define what it was.
And I agree. I agree with that, and I also agree with you. Toxic is toxic,
But everyone has different definitions of it.
Mhm.
right?
It can be one particular thing that one person may think, but it's like, and that's just based off like people's experiences,
Right.
and other things and stuff. But Heather definitely put it
Yeah.
down packed like good.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
Right. That's
agree.
dope. So if someone says that, I'm like, oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but you're also right too. Toxic is toxic, no matter
No,
what your
toxic
gender
is
is.
toxic.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
so
for
when you
sure.
say something like that to me, I'm like, oh, he's a fucking dickhead. Right? Like he can't stand on his own. He has to be like, but I'm a man. Like,
but I'm a man. I'm a grown ass man.
if you have to use it, you probably ain't it.
Exactly.
Right? Like
Right.
that's always, it's
Exactly.
like someone saying like I have friends. Like if you got to tell me, you probably
But
don't.
I think that's a great way to explain it.
Right?
Yeah,
No, that is
yeah.
a great way to explain it. Because then I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
all right. Like, right? Then I'm like, oh, fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah, like I mean, yeah, I think that's exactly, because I mean there's different versions.
Right.
And I
Mhm.
think like everything that you're referring to is correct, but I feel like that, to me, my opinion, it doesn't really go hand in hand with toxic masculinity. I feel like to have toxic masculinity, they have to be using that as a reason.
Right.
Right. Okay. No, I
Yeah.
dig that, because sometimes people, like, someone gets in a fight, they're like, see, that's that toxic. And I'm like, some things are worth fighting for.
Some things
Yeah.
are.
Oh,
If you don't have
100%.
anything to fight for, you don't have
You
anything
don't
to
have
live for.
anything
Yeah,
to live for.
But some things are, you got men just wanting to be like,
One try to show be a man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Use
like,
their
use
manhood.
their manhood, right?
exactly.
Dickhead.
That's toxic masculinity.
Dickhead.
But
Not
I-
everything needs to be a dick measuring
No.
contest, guys.
What you say is toxic masculinity is, it's us. They're dickheads. Like, why do that? Like, you're a dickhead. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, but you're not going to.
But you're not going to tell him, be
you're
like,
gonna
you're
tell
a
the guy,
toxic
You're using your toxic masculinity.
masculinity.
No, I'm gonna
Like,
say
you're
you're.
not
A,
gonna say
I'm gonna say
that.
you're a dickhead. Like, knock it off. Like, why are you
Right.
being
But you
dumb?
agree that
But
that's,
us as women,
yeah.
we're going to be like, yeah, that's
that's
toxic. That's toxic
All right.
masculinity at its best.
Man, we went off the rails here.
No, it's all right. I actually like this conversation, and I'm glad that we ventured off into something that might, invite other people into what we were having as a
A
conversation.
lot of people did
Yeah.
say thank you for the conversation. There's been a lot of people commenting.
Yeah.
And now it's just been
Michelle
us for the
Finn
last
was,
hour.
Michelle Finn was killing it,
Yay.
and Mary and Melissa too.
Nice.
It was funny because they would be like, "Yeah, queens, that's right. Yeah, ladies," and they were like, "Oh, that's a good point. That's okay. That's a good point." I'm
Well-
like, I could tell when it was one of us speaking to you guys speaking. Yeah, that's the fucking shit. That's the truth. Yeah,
I don't think
okay, that's a
anyone was
decent point.
wrong.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, all right, I see that. I'm like, Jesus.
No one was wrong. I think we were just sharing our opinions
we're
on what we
right
all.
until midnight.
Yeah.
They were wrong the whole
Right
time
until midnight.
until midnight.
There you
Until
go.
the pumpkin
think
turns
you
back
guys-
into a pumpkin.
I think you guys are always right
That was smart.
Please
I
remind him
don't-
of that
because
every
I don't
day.
have toxic masculinity.
Shut up.
That is not what that means. That's not what that means. But I appreciate you being the smartest one in the room.
I enjoyed this
He
conversation.
is.
This guy's a genius.
I was gonna say, every time I'm in a room with this guy, geez.
Shout out Quantre,
Contrary.
Shout out.
the hero.
Oh God,
All righty. So
guys, we're troopers today.
yeah. Hey, thanks for
And-
hanging in. What are we going on?
And
Like
now-
2.5 hours?
And
Yeah.
now you have been unleashed.
100%.
In one way or
No,
another.
you gotta take the headphones off because you're still
Yeah.
leashed.
I'm walking right out with
You're
him.
still
You're gonna get
leashed, yeah.
clotheslined.
My
Are we
ears
out?
It's gonna be
Are
a
we still
voluntary
live?
clothesline.